Remember, the Constitution is sort of trash. What, 1, 2, Cyrus, 1, 2, mic check.
Some will say, okay, so are you arguing for throwing out the Constitution? Should the Constitution be thrown out? What do we do?
Constitution is kind of trash.
Spider sense start tingling.
What did you say? It's what?
It's kind of trash.
Trash.
What did you say, nigga?
It was written by slavers and colonists and white people who were willing to make deals with slavers and colonists.
What did you say? It's what?
It's kind of trash.
Trash.
Spider sense start tingling.
They said it's a comic book for hate groups. What's your reaction to that? They said it's a comic book for hate groups. What's your reaction to that?
It's to be expected. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this industry. It's not just with the content per se. Even the economic model is very archaic.
Yeah, I dreamed of being a comic book artist since I was a little boy, and I worked my way up. It was so hard. I made it to DC Comics, made it to Superman. My little boy dream came true. They made him woke. They got rid of his American citizenship. They said the truth, justice, and the American way doesn't matter. So you guys reported on it in October. I famously walked off the book, and that was a big deal. And soon after, I met up with Eric, and we started working on ISOM together. And I also made another book with another Warner Brothers DC Comics veteran, David Williams, and we created Truth, Justice, American Way as our love letter to like your classic Avengers, Superman, Batman kind of stories. So that's going on too, and working on ISOM with Eric has been amazing.
But I also come from escaped slaves, okay? The people who weren't going to live under tyranny. I also come from a long line of civil rights activists, people who stand up when it's time to stand up, and they say, no more, I'm not going to kiss the ring, I'm not going to bend the knee, I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. That's the spirit that we have to have right now, and I definitely have it, and I want to spread it to you.
What's good? Let's spread it. Let's go. Feeling good. Other than looking like the Black Santa Claus, I'm feeling good. Feeling real good. Sneaking on into the weekend. It's almost Christmas time. Not too early to get ready for Christmas. Oh, man, so much to talk about today. A lot. That's how I know I got to go live, when it's like I got my list of things that I at least have like a couple. I go through and I'm like, if I have more than 2 takes on something, then I'm gonna save the link. That's basically what I'm doing right now. Yo, Ryan Smarts, what's up? Yo. What's good? I got much healthier with my late night. It's not that healthy. It's still caffeinated, but it's tea. No monsters. Because I couldn't do the no sugar ones. It's not like the no sugar ones are healthy. So I had to do the sugar ones, and then I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So I got some tea, some caffeinated tea. Good brand here. Might have to holler at them for a sponsorship or something. I would hawk the tea in a second. Been telling my wife about it. I might replace coffee with it. It's that good. I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but what's up? What's on everybody's mind? Football's going on. Metalopoly, what's up? How you doing tonight? They're playing football, I think. I think I saw football on TV. I was like, what? I asked my wife, like, what is that? She was like, it's preseason football. I'm like, oh damn, I'm not even in. Ryan's like, I drink beer. I don't even watch sports anymore. And then I was at an event and I had a beer. And I just haven't, I don't have anything against drinking beer. I just haven't had one in a minute. And I'm drinking the beer and I'm like, why did I ever drink this thing? It tastes like, it literally tastes like dirty piss. Just some random beer. It's not like high quality beer. I used to drink Natty Lights in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Like the beer that tastes like, it almost tastes like rusty water. Natty Light. I think you probably, I wouldn't be surprised if you scraped rust into a glass of water and drank it, if it tastes better than a Natty Light. and you have to drink like 20 of them to get. I was drinking this one beer and I was almost feeling something. That's how long it's been. But the Natty Lights were crazy. I remember those nights. My goodness. Yeah, I gave up on that. I'll watch it, I guess. I mean, it all depends on if my team's doing well. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so I'm not against it. But it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's ESPN is so woke and trash now. Man, the shows I used to watch, like Around the Horn, it's like at least once every episode they bring up some type of religious type of thing, and I'm like, man, y'all are knee deep in this stuff, and it's just not where I usually go to sports to escape it. Like I have another YouTube channel where I don't think I've ever talked about any of this political stuff. Maybe dabbled on it a little bit, but it's more for like just non-political stuff, Rippaverse and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to say I'm out on football because I'm interested, but I haven't watched basketball. Basketball used to be my number one sport to watch. Can't get there anymore. I got a take on Martha Bueno. Short take. I got a take on the manufacturing of that V juice. I've got Andrew. I really should have made Andrew Yang the thumbnail because that's the most energy I have for tonight. It's for you, Mr. Andrew Yang. And often I have energy for people who I think highly of and I'm disappointed in. So I'm going to talk about Kamala Harris, but I don't think highly of her. So I'm not going to be energized. I might be laughing a little bit, but got Tesla on the mind. Herschel Walker. I'm out on Herschel Walker. You'll have to stay tuned or join the Clips channel to hear that take. Get comfortable. This could be a long one. There is Boston Children's Hospital. Man, that thing is a mess with TikTok, Libs of TikTok, and the Boston Children's Hospital backpedaling, bringing down videos, editing the website, and a political fact check that is nonsense. It's just a mess what's going on there. I might touch on the Philly mask situation again because it's just so unbelievable to me. I touched on it last night with friend of the show, Ray Studio. So Ray Studios and I were talking about it. I might bring it up again. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going hard in defense of not what some J6ers did, but their constitutional rights. And I have nothing but respect for her. She is swimming upstream against. There's no political benefit right now defending the constitutional rights of J6ers. You're more likely to get canceled and lose donor sponsors than anything. And she won't let it go. Much respect to Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then I might get to Pete Davidson. And yeah, because I had talked about it a lot when they were together. It was, some funny stuff and some serious stuff too. But since they're apart, I might just have to touch on the subject. Thank you for stopping by in the chat, and let me know what's on your mind. Let me know what's going on. Ryan Smart says Andrew Yang is a thumbnail. He's got a thumb-shaped head. Well, and I might as well start with him. Let's start with Yang and my concerns with Yang. The reason why I bring up Andrew Yang, you could say it. It's because I actually think he's very bright. So I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know what's happening. But he really resonated with me when he ran for president. And now he's not. So he's obviously not the right man for the job. And I'm going to show you why he's not the right man for the job. And when I say man, I mean like human. Because I'm going to use a woman as an example of to show you where Andrew Yang isn't and where he needs to be. So I went back. This was when I talked about Andrew Yang and the homeless situation. He backed off. It was the same thing. Andrew Yang said we have rights too. He didn't say it to be disrespectful to homeless people. He just said, well, we got to think about everyone. And he backtracked when people kind of gave him some flack. And I need you to stand tall, Yang. I need you to stand tall. I need you to stand for something. Because Andrew Yang has a lot of good ideas. But here's what happened. He went on with CNN. And I'm going to kind of break this down here. Mueller, she wrote, which is a terrible Twitter account. I don't know why I follow leftists, these corporate leftists, just to find out what they're doing. Just what a trash Twitter account. But I do follow this account. And it said, now Andrew Yang is refusing to answer questions about his idiot tweets about the FBI. He just keeps pitching his third party, which also happens to be the name of the book he's trying to sell. So what? What kind of take is that? Are you just promoting yourself, Jim Acosta, one of the most embarrassing former journalists? Before Trump was a journalist, after Trump became a corporate activist. He asked Andrew Yang in this interview. And I said, what you see here is what corporate Democrats do. They attempt to annihilate anything that threatens their power. Andrew Yang basically is now the Asian Donald Trump. That's how they're treating him. Persona non grata. He used to be on CNN. And he told the truth when he was on CNN. So he had some courage when he was on CNN. Now he's backing Liz Cheney. I think that's strategic. I don't think it's authentic. What he's trying to do is create this third party called the Forward Party. We've got the Republican Party, we've got the Democrat Party, we've got MAGA, and we've got the Libertarian Party. Those are the only four parties that are relevant right now. He's trying to create another party that is relevant. But he's not doing it the right way, in my opinion. Third parties don't have a chance. If you want to do something, Andrew Yang, take over the Democrat Party. I know it's hard, it's damn near impossible, but that's what you have to do. But no, he's not doing that. He's trying to do this third party called the Forward Party. In order to do that, you need a nut sack. You need cojones. And I'm going to show you Andrew Yang and why I am troubled by it. I got feedback. Some people weren't happy that I called him Bitch Yang. And I stand on that. I am not going away from that. I am going harder on it. I don't need you to be bitch made right now. This is not the time, Mr. Yang. And I'm not saying this to be hateful. I'm saying this to kind of guide you because I respect your ideas. I bought a math hat. I've go back, search on the channel. I have videos praising this guy. And I'm challenging him to be better. I'm challenging him to meet the moment, and we can all learn from this. I don't just say stuff just to say stuff. So some people also said I'm too soft or wishy-washy on certain topics. Probably because I want to make sure that I am not hateful or come across as hateful. So that's not why I'm not trying to tell him to do that. But I will stand for something, though. Stuck in the middle doesn't mean I don't stand for something. And here's Andrew Yang, and this clip pissed me off.
It's one reason why we think the Forward Party is so vital, because we think there needs to be a broad, positive, unifying third-party movement. But I'm for anything that enhances national security and the rule of law. And our hope is that as the Attorney General and the DOJ dig in, that the American people get a lot of the answers that many of us are eagerly anticipating.
In the back, right next to his face on his right, is the book, The War on Normal People. I highly recommend the book. He's talking about the Industrial Revolution, really the tech industrial revolution that we are underway right now. I'm going to talk about Tesla, and the self-driving cars are getting better. They are getting incredible. People are worried about this happening, so they're lying about the safety of these cars, trying to make them sound not safety. I'm bringing that up because Andrew Yang is ahead of his time. And sometimes the people that I look at and look up to, sometimes I'm the hardest on. And that's why I'm hard on Yang. So I have no problem with what he said here. That's the forward party. What he's trying to do is get this third party where he sees MAGA, he sees Republicans, he sees Democrats, and he's going to say, like, okay, some people might not roll with MAGA because they're afraid. It takes some courage to rep MAGA outwardly, in my opinion, depending on where you are, where you work, all that kind of stuff. So he's like, some people don't like that. Some people, we know people don't like the corporate Republicans and Democrats. So Andrew Yang is going to be like, I'm corporate Democrat light. So I'm trying to take things back. He's calling it the forward priority. He's basically just trying to he's copying Trump's playbook is all he's doing. He's trying to say, make America great again within the Democrat Party. That in my opinion, that's all he's trying to do. So he's on CNN trying to promote it with an enemy. Jim Acosta is a political enemy. He is a protector of the corporate Democrat class. What Andrew Yang is doing is a threat to that. People don't like corporate Democrats. They don't like CNN. They could look at Andrew Yang and say, well, this is an alternative. I don't like Joe Biden, this ice cream eating senile fool. So I'm going to go to this other option. And I don't like MAGA. There's going to be people in that realm. There might be people on the channel that might look at this as a attractive option because they would never wear MAGA. I wore a shirt. I have plaid MAGA on one of my shirts. I don't wear that in public, and not because I'm afraid to rep it. It's just I don't want to necessarily have that conversation. So I'm just not in the mood for that conversation if that were to come up. But I actually wore it out, and nothing happened. But my point is, some people might not want to rep that at all. They might vote MAGA in the voting booth, but not rep it, and might be like, oh, I might be able to rep the forward party.
But are you saying that, I don't think you answered my question, are you saying that the Attorney General had political motivations with this search at Mar-a-Lago?
I trust that all of the DOJ employees, and particularly the FBI agents.
See, he wants to be the safe alternative. He's saying, I trust the DOJ. I trust all the state entities. I mean, this really should be something that would be attractive to like a Destiny streamer. Destiny trusts these institutions. They're not there. There's no evil there. So he's saying, I'm safe. I'm not going to be radical like MAGA, who's saying abolish the FBI now. That's where Andrew Yang's coming on. So let me stop for a second, make sure I get some chats in here. Metalopoly says, Shuanhead, who I'm a big fan of, another person. There's a lot of people. There's 3 people I'm big fans of who have blocked me on Twitter. Shuanhead has as well. But Shuanhead asked on a post Yang put out about the Forward Party what they stand for. Nobody could give her a straight answer. Red flags abound. I think he's going to have to speak for himself. I don't know what his answer is on what that stands for. What's his slogan? Or I don't even know what the slogan is for it. It's like moving forward. Something like moving forward together. But they have to work on some of that branding. Like, what are you about? That's why Make America Great Again was so powerful. And really all it is blue Make America Great Again. So I think the answer that Andrew Yang would want to say is, I want to go back to the before times, back to sanity, but looking forward to the challenge we're going to face. That's what he's really doing. I'm not a brander. I don't know what the slogan is, but that's what they are trying to do.
Are faithful public servants discharging their duty, and it hurts us all that people are singling out individuals in the way that Doni described. It's truly awful.
So Andrew Yang is being disingenuous here. So he's just saying we should blindly trust the DOJ. Like there hasn't been any, especially when it comes to Trump. They're talking about Trump now in the raid and all that. So especially when it comes to Trump, why would we trust? We know for a fact that there have been hit jobs and lies against Donald Trump. That is a fact. We know that. So why would he be so quick to say that I trust him because he knows all this stuff. You can see it in his face, in my opinion. The same FBI. Now, I want to make sure it's clear because I think we're getting into that realm where they're trying to do the okey doke. Like this dude came out in Cincinnati and was acting this stupid dude or what, I don't know, whatever, mentally gone, doing whatever he did with the FBI headquarters. And what they're trying to do, in my opinion, is take it and say, okay, anybody who criticized, it's ramping up. Get rid of the FBI, get rid of the FBI. They're going to try and say that's hate speech. You can't say that. You'll pull the videos. I'm peaceful. I'm not talking about anything other than criticizing government institutions and finding a way to hold them accountable within the system, within the power of the system. And it has to be completely peaceful. You can see where that's going. That's where they're going with all this stuff. Is people did these silly things, and I think there are people who are in front of an FBI building or something, armed or something like that. I'm like, man, y'all got to stop that stuff. Because all they're doing is using that. I don't know if these are plants or whatever, false flag. I don't know what they are, but all they're doing is trying to set up the okey doke. I mean, not for, probably would apply to little old me, but for Alex Jones or anybody, any libertarians, anybody who would say populist left. You're seeing people kind of unite a little bit. Populist left, libertarians, MAGA. That is the most dangerous thing in their eyes. And if I criticize like the Capitol building is still barricaded and locked down, what? Wow. It's been like a year and a half. So I want safety. I don't condone any kind of craziness. But we are in a dangerous time where it's like, I don't even know what I can say anymore. So I'm criticizing the FBI, period, point blank. If we can't do that, then I don't know. I don't even know what can we even say. So, but Andrew Yang doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to get into that argument. He knows there's a legitimate argument. The FBI, the same FBIs that did the same FBI that knew about the Oppo research that Hillary Clinton was doing, messing around with Michael Sussman, the same FBI with the Russian disinformation, the same FBI that said that Robert's laptop was Russian disinformation when it was verifiable. We know it's verifiably accurate now. No one's talking about it. The same one that did the unlawful FISA surveillance to frame Donald Trump as a traitor. And Andrew Yang says, yeah, I trust them. And he knows all this. So I know as politicians, you have to frame things and stuff like that. But can you believe him knowing all this? Look at his face.
And it hurts us all.
Political motivations with this search at Mar-a-Lago?
I trust that all of the DOJ employees, and particularly the FBI agents, are faithful public servants.
I'm listening to that again. Did you hear what he said? The volume might be a little low. I can't turn it up anymore. Did you hear what he said? He tried to dance around that. Listen to that. He said, I'm sure the agents were good. So he didn't say that the head honchos weren't political. Listen to this.
The Attorney General had political motivations with this search at Mar-a-Lago?
I trust that all of the DOJ employees...
He said all of the DOJ employees. Yang. So he did not talk... He did not say... Well, we were looking at Merrick Garland. He did not say flat out that he trusted Merrick Garland. He said DOJ employees. He's talking about the people underneath. I don't trust them either, but he's trying to distinguish here, I think. Then he said FBI agents. He didn't say Christopher Wray.
Particularly the FBI agents are faithful public servants discharging their duties.
Yeah.
And it hurts us all that people are singling out individuals in the way that Dore described. It's truly awful.
Right, but going back to your tweet that you posted in response to this, you seem to be suggesting that it was okay for the former president to be bringing top secret documents to Mar-a-Lago. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, there were a few different legal rationales that were on offer, and the initial reporting talked about the classified documents in a particular way, and then the AG came out with another statement, and then the Espionage Act was invoked. So there have been different...
No, Jim, see, Andrew Yang is just too hemming and hawing. You know what, Jim? To run up in the crib of a former president, that is a high standard. So we need to see evidence or something, I mean, out of this world. It's never happened before, Jim. So I'm not going to get into the details of the documents. I haven't even seen them. I don't know the documents that he had or what he didn't have. They ran up in his crib when he was out of town. Is that normal to you, Jim? You think that should be normalized? I think he's the front runner, or MAGA, someone, DeSantis or whoever. DeSantis isn't really MAGA, but, front runner for 2024. Do you want them to run up in the crib of Barack Obama? Do you want them to run up in the crib of Hillary Clinton for the same thing? Don't play these games with me, Jim. I need more energy from you, Yang.
Different legal rules concerning these documents, and as more information comes out, it gets more and more serious.
Right, and Dore was just laying out some of the shifting explanations for why Trump had these documents at Mar-a-Lago. We can put that graphic up on screen again. They're talking about everything from, the documents were declassified in advance. That today Trump is saying, well, they fall under attorney-client privilege. And some of the people who work for Trump, and Trump even himself, have suggested that these documents were planted. Do you buy any of the explanations coming from Trump and his team?
So there's a lot of this speculation out there of, well, this could have happened, that could have happened, Trump making allegations. Well, this reminds me of 2020, Jim. I don't know. See, that's the problem when these agencies are not transparent. We're repeating the same mistakes, Jim. And why aren't you answering these questions with the intelligence I know you have, Andrew Yang? Jim, we don't know. Do you know something I don't know, Jim? Were you there? I don't know. I'm not saying Trump is right. I'm saying I don't know. And this lack of transparency is what allows Donald Trump or anybody else to say, well, I have questions. The president of the United States hasn't even come out and spoken on this yet. He doesn't have to speak on it specifically, but he could say, well, I know the temperature in the country is boiling up. Let's cool it down. It's not on any hate your neighbor type stuff. If you're MAGA or whoever you are, let's love each other and move on, or whatever you want to say. You're talking about, well, are you buying Trump? It's not about do I buy Trump or not, number one. Number two, you do realize what the political temperature is in our country right now, Jim. So on top of the high standard, it's never happened before, you're throwing a match on a situation that's already the flames are already starting up. Regardless of who's right or who's wrong or who's telling a lie or who's not, that you don't know. And listen to the energy Andrew Yang has. He doesn't have the energy that's needed for this moment.
No, I mean, the hodgepodge of explanations, it tells you a lot, because a lot of them are internally inconsistent. But the tough reality we're in, Jim, which you and I both know, is that there are now maybe 100 or 1,000 different versions of reality that are being accepted by Americans of different...
So he's saying the same thing I just said, but it's so hemming and hawing and soft and just like, it's like, I don't know, it's like putting a steak in a blender or something. It's like, what are you doing?
Ideological backgrounds, and it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, but forgive me for trying to pin you down here, Andrew. I'm just trying to...
Oh, please. Are
you okay with Trump taking top secret documents to Mar-a-Lago? Let's put it that way.
Again, of course not. I mean, I'm for anything that in...
Bruh, the temperature of our country is so hot, and you're worried about Trump taking documents to Mar-a-Lago? I don't even know what the documents are. What the hell are you talking about? You're saying, am I okay with something? I don't even know what he has. What are you talking about, Jim? are you okay with throwing a match onto the country at this moment? Are you okay with that, Jim? Because I'm not okay with that.
Enhances our national security and the rule of law.
And let me ask you about your new Forward Party, because you say it's an attempt to appeal to what you say is the moderate common sense majority. It's also the same name as your book. Is this an attempt to pump up book sales?
Well, I'd have to say this would be a pretty silly way.
Is this an attempt to pump up book sales? Jim, do you understand that running for office and starting a party is marketing? Yeah, it's about pumping up book sales. Of course it is. The book is about the third party. The book is about what we're trying to do. What is going on? Of course it is. Not for me to make money off of a book. I already got a book. I don't need that. This is starting a party. So yes, I want people to pick up the book. The book's at Amazon right now. Here's what it's about. Absolutely, it's about selling the book so people can read that there's an alternative to you. What happened to you when Trump won, Jim? You turned into a mess. You turned into an embarrassment. That's why I'm trying to sell my books, because it's an alternative to you. Why isn't Andrew Yang bringing that energy?
Way to go about it, given that we co-founded a national party.
See, now he has Jim Acosta making him look like a bitch. That's why I called him Bitch Yang, because of this.
That now has tens of thousands of Americans signed up, co-chaired by former governor of New Jersey, Christine Todd Whitman. And the fact is 62% of Americans
But are you
want
just
a
promoting
third party.
yourself? I
88
guess what I'm asking is, are you just...
No, I'm promoting a party, a political party. You realize that all these people in D.C. have books, Jim? That they're the ones promoting themselves. I'm starting up a new party. Do you know how hard it is to start a new political party?
out there promoting yourself with this?
Again, Jim, there are, as you can.
No, so you have to understand if you're doing an interview, it is now turned hostile. Jim Acosta is not asking questions just to ask questions. He's asking questions with the purpose of making you look like a bumbling idiot. And that's what you look like.
Easily imagine there are hundreds of better ways to go about promoting a book than starting a political.
This is his opportunity. He doesn't even have his talking points. Just like someone in the chat said that Shuan had asked, well, what's your party about? And Shuan Head didn't he really get a good answer? This is your chance right now. What are you about? See, the thing is, he's really about much of what MAGA's about, in my opinion.
Party to do so. I mean, I'm building this party because 62% of Americans want it. We're more polarized than ever. And the fact is that...
See, Jim's not even listening anymore. He's got his next thing queued up.
The two parties have divvied up the country.
You see him, he's looking down. Jim's not even paying attention because it's like this bumbling idiot.
So that 79 to 90% of races are uncompetitive. Most of the people watching this right now aren't even living under a two-party system. They're living under one party.
The other week I asked...
And let me show you how it's done to feel good. It's really simple. You don't have to...
Now that you have seen the... You
don't have to go too far. What I need you to do, Andrew Yang, is there's someone who does lead with their cojones. Right now, I need... The energy that you need right now in this country is you need to have your nuts scraping off the sidewalk. The first thing that I find out about someone should be their nut sacks hanging, figuratively, with courage. And that means sometimes you're going to make mistakes. But I'm going to take it over to Kari Lake. She has the energy that's needed, mixing it in with substance. So it's not just a joke. It's not just attacking. Let me go back to the first time. You know, it kind of was love at first sight. I'm happily married, but I'm gonna have to be honest. It was another one of those cold water buckets in the face moments when this is the first thing many of you also probably saw from Kari Lake.
This is what's wrong with our media.
Okay, perfect.
You guys are pushing a narrative. You know that Joe Biden didn't win by 81 million votes.
I do know he won.
By 81 million votes. You really need to put down the crack pipe. Hunter's crack pipe. You really believe Joe Biden won by 81 million votes?
There is no proof behind most of the stuff you've tweeted about the election.
Yes, there is.
So I'm going to make it clear. I'm not questioning anything about 2020. I'm just commenting on the energy of Kari Lake, reporting on what she said. That's the first I ever saw of her. I didn't know who she was when that clip was released. I'd never heard of her in my life. And then I was like, who is that? She said, what? What did she say? And just to be clear for YouTube, Joe Biden is my overlord, president, God, whatever you want him to be.
You really believe Joe Biden won by 81 million votes?
There is no proof behind most of the stuff you've tweeted.
You really need to put down the crack pipe. Hunter's crack pipe. You really...
The energy that you need to have to say, well, hold up. Oh, so you know what? When you come to me, you better come correct or you will get wrecked. This is the sequel to that movie.
Hi.
Kari.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Kamala off in CNN.
You don't have a mask on anymore. What's going
we're
on?
outside. Do you have a minute to
Well,
chat?
we're 6 feet apart.
Do you have a minute to chat?
I'll do an interview.
Okay.
As long as it airs on CNN Plus. Does that still exist? I didn't think so, because the people don't like what you guys are peddling, which is propaganda. Thank you.
That's involuntary servitude.
You come at me sideways, you will get wrecked. That's first and foremost. Now, Yang, I know they won't have you on anymore. Good. That's good. There's nothing, if you watch CNN or basically any one of these shows at night now, except for maybe, I don't know if Tucker, I watch Tucker with the clips more than even on TV. The advertising is like daytime retired senior citizens. Like they're advertising like shoes to help your back posture. Nobody's watching. Who cares, Yang? Get off. If you're not going to have me on anymore, I don't care. But if you come at me sideways, I'm going to make sure you end up looking like this. That is a still shot of the video you just saw. Don't come at me sideways anymore. If this reporter had come to Kari Lake respectfully, even if you have like a tough question, she would have returned that in kind. So you want to come at me trying to tear down the party? So I'm trying to sell a book. Of course I'm trying to sell a book. What the hell do you think I wrote it for? Are you trying to get views on your show? What kind of nonsense is that? I've got more. I've got one more. Kari Lake was outside in Arizona, and she's talking about the homeless problem. And she's like, I've got a plan. I'm not just talking about this stuff. I've got a plan that I worked on to share to the people about how to handle the homeless problem. And I'll do a video on that another day. And she's like, y'all don't cover it. Like, what you cover my opponent's plan, y'all purposely are not covering my plan.
Bogus stories to try to stir the pot. And the people of Arizona are onto it, Bram. That's why they're not watching you. That's why you have 2,000 viewers for your 10 o'clock newscast. We have had this policy out for a number of months now. Almost a year, as a matter of fact. And none of you, not a single one of you, have tried to cover this story. You get caught up in a bunch of BS stories that the public doesn't care about. The public cares about this.
So she's right outside. I don't know where it is in Arizona, but a homeless encampment, kind of like what you would see in San Francisco. Well, literally any big city in this country at this point. She's out there. She's like, I've got a plan. I'm out here trying to make a scene about it. She's very smart, man. She's running a great campaign. So we don't know what she'll be in. If hopefully she wins, then we can judge her actions. But the way she's running the campaign is the energy. Andrew Yang, are you watching and are you taking notes? Because I think he actually has this in him. I'd rather go out like this. If I'm not going to win, I'm going to go out like this on my own terms. I'm not going out hemming and hawing about, well, the FBI agents and nah. I'm going to say what I want to say.
For a number of months now, almost a year as a matter of fact. And none of you, not a single one of you, have tried to cover this story. You get caught up in a bunch of BS stories that the public doesn't care about. The public cares about this. Arizonans are tired of seeing this. And the media in this town doesn't care about the issues. They only care about bogus stories. And I'm hoping that as we do some Q&A here, you'll actually ask.
So she knows the media very well. She used to be an anchor woman for a local Arizona station. So she's going, this is the end of her speech. And she's going to throw out to questions, and she wanted to throw it out and say, I know you're going to ask about 2020 or some other nonsense because you don't want me to resonate with voters. So I have this plan. Hopefully you're going to ask about it. Let's throw out the questions to you.
Some questions about this policy. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
She's being very respectful. There's nothing disrespectful here at all. She listens to the reporter's question. So this is like Donald Trump. Donald Trump brought this into me in the modern era of when I'm talking to the media, it will be political warfare at times. But she's taken it to a more advanced level. Marjorie Taylor Greene to a more refined, a more advanced level. Donald Trump, to me, deserves a credit for doing that. The time it happened was that debate when Megyn Kelly came at him about Rosie O'Donnell, and Trump just came right back. And then they had the interactions afterwards.
Have you read any of the extensive media coverage on what's happening here?
So this reporter said to Kari Lake, after she said all that, have you read any of the extensive media coverage of what's happening out here? The reporter is asking her that. Read the media coverage about what's happening out here. I'm out here right now. I'm here. I see what's happening out here. I have a plan to address it. What do you mean read what you guys are saying about it? The whole allure for me is that I provide something that you don't provide. So Kari Lake's like, what are you talking about? What kind of question is that?
Are you even aware of it?
Aware? He's not saying, are you aware of the problem? He's saying, are you aware of what we've said about the problem? I don't care what you've said about the problem. I will read every source and take all the information into account, but I don't care what you have to say about the problem.
Aware of what?
The media coverage that you say is not happening.
That's not what she said. She said, you're not covering the plan that I have.
On me, I'm talking about me. You guys have not covered my policy, Bram. You haven't covered my policy. I mean, you can sit there and smile with that grin on your face, but that's...
I'm not here to play a game with you. She said, you can sit here and smile with that grin on your face, but I'm not here to play with you.
Why nobody watches you. That's why your 10 o'clock newscast gets 2,000 viewers.
We cover this we cover this all the time.
So the reporter doesn't want to talk about her plan. He wants to talk about how they cover the issue.
Other media
haven't covered our policy.
So is it all about you? Is that what it is?
I'm running for governor, you. It's not about me. It's about the plan I'm talking about. The plan I just explained to everyone just like 5 minutes ago. Well, of course it's about me. It's about me in the sense of what can I do for Arizonans. I'm running for governor. Of course it's about me and what I bring to the table. Just like you go to a job interview. Graham, is it about me? Well, that's why I'm here.
About your policy?
Our campaign and not covered any of our policy. I'm the only candidate with a policy to address the homeless situation. I'm the only one. My opponent, KHive, does not have a policy. I do. You choose to cover bogus stories to try to stir the pot. And the people of Arizona are onto it, Bram. That's why they're not watching you. That's why you have 2,000 viewers for your 10 o'clock newscast. Out of 6.5 million, no one's watching.
Get wrecked. So that's what I got to say about that. I hope Yang is taking notes. I hope he's humble enough to receive the feedback. You can drop the moniker. Like if he turns it around, I'm not calling him bitch Yang anymore. I'm going to give him credit. But until then, Kari Lake is out here not playing games, throwing bombs. You come sideways, you will get treated sideways. Period. Things are too serious right now. People in the country we're not here for the games anymore. People are seeing things clearly. The Breitbart website is down right now. Wow. Metalopoly says, funny thing, Megyn Kelly is now on Trump's side. Yeah, I know, it is kind of weird. Is she really on Trump's side? Megyn Kelly is great. I've always liked Megyn Kelly when she was on Fox News. I thought she was a star. Then the whole Breitbart, Steve Bannon went on her hard after that debate. And she went sideways for a little bit. Then she went to do that morning show, which was a terrible idea. I know she wanted to do it, so I don't blame her for trying to chase something she was passionate about, but she wasn't good at it. So then she went back to doing her thing, and her podcast is great. She's had Comic Dave Smith's been on there, I believe. She's had a lot of good people on there to have good discussion, not always agreeing on stuff even. So I give her props for that. I am disappointed that she misrepresented Jack Posevic's take on a hot topic from a while back, and she's never apologized for being wrong. And I don't understand that. Yeah, no, Metalopoly says, so it's all about you, he says, while trying to make it about his news organization. Zero self-awareness. He's trying to go for an own moment, and Kari Lake's not having it, and he got owned. So they are going to think twice before coming sideways. It's a hard balance. Kari Lake's got to balance it by bringing it back to substance, but I fully support those brief moments where she's like, nope, you came sideways, gone, bye. Fully support that. Herschel Walker, this is one of those takes that does not excite me to have to say. And I always leave room to be wrong. I always leave room to change my mind. That is for sure. So I will do that in this case. There is nothing different there. But for Herschel Walker, I'm out. I'm out on Herschel Walker. I've given him time. I've said before he needs to debate. It doesn't matter if you have that Southern drawl or slang or whatever it is. It's a lot of people aren't used to hearing a politician with that accent. That's not the point. If you are, I only care about populists. If you're not a populist, I just don't care. So he might not be one. So whatever. But my thing is, if he was a populist, I know it's very difficult to say populist in the Senate because that's like right next to president. You can get a couple or one or two like we have for America First, Boebert, MTG, Paul Gosar, those types in the, maybe even Thomas Massey. He's, I don't know what to label him, but he's good. You can get those types in the House. There is none right now in the Senate, not even Rand Paul. There are no populist senators right now. No MAGA senators at all right now. That's the next step. That's why I'm excited about Blake Masters. So Herschel Walker is trying to get to the Senate, not even the House. I mean, it's a big jump. And it's based off of name recognition, but that's fine. That's marketing. I mean, that's where his career took him. So I have no problem with that. But what we're at now is one of the big things that I am looking at from any candidate is humanizing the populist right. That's what I want. That's what I need to see. Humanizing the movement. Everything that they're trying to do on the news is to make you in the chat, to make me, to make anyone who doesn't agree sound like a deplorable. You can put half of them in a basket of deplorables. Bad people, racist people, evil people, anti-saving our democracy people. So I need you to be able to humanize that movement or bring something else to the table. But here's where it is. I said I have nothing against Herschel Walker, but I'm out on him officially. Let me play this clip, and it's been leading up to this moment. He's not debating a clown like Warnock. If you can't debate him, if you're not jumping at the opportunity to annihilate him politically in a debate, then I'm not. I can't help you. Why are you running for Senate? I don't care who hosts the debate.
You have a recent attack from a Republican accountability PAC where they've used your ex-wife in a commercial. You know the attacks that they've had people come up and say they're veterans. I'm not going to question that have attacked you. All the things. What say you on the daily attacks that you're getting from commercials, from the media, and some of these political action groups that are trying to help Raphael Warnock?
Well, when they
so that's the question, and to set that up, it's a really tough situation to discuss. But Herschel Walker has done some crazy stuff. Period. And to me, that doesn't, from where he is now, it's not like this stuff happened yesterday. For me, it's an opportunity for him to show me how far he's come. Where has he come? What type of, what's his evolution as a man? And this is he had domestic violent issues. So I don't know if it's CTE or whatever, the head injuries from football. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know if it's mental or it has nothing to do with football or what, but they were serious mental type of issues. So he's talking about there's an ad out there. There's an ad out there right now that's really unflattering to Herschel Walker. And with this ad, it's like, how are you going to respond? That's what this is really about. That's what that question is about. To provide context, let me play that ad, and then I'll come back to this video at 32 seconds so we can see where my concerns are. So everything's fair in the game of politics, man. This is Senate. This is the highest level. And there's no lies in this ad.
Do you think you know Herschel Walker? Well, think again. Listen to what his ex-wife had to say about him.
His eyes would become very evil. The guns and knives. I got into a few choking things with him. The first time he held the gun to my head, he held the gun to my temple and said he was going to blow my brains out.
So that's the ad that he's talking about. Basically, that type of ad is what the interviewer was referencing with Herschel Walker. So Herschel Walker needs to have an answer for that. Monopoly says that he's better than Warnock. The media trying to call him the Republicans' House N-word, which literally happened by the same guy. I believe it was the same, what's his name? Is it Eli Mistal or whatever? The same guy in my intro where I say the Constitution's sort of trash. I think it's the same guy who said that. But so here's where I'm at, Metalopoly. If you're not a populist, I don't care. I just don't care. And even if he is a populist and he can't articulate, here's the moment here I'm going to go to, I really don't care. Just like Dr. Oz, go ahead and let Weekend at Bernie's, Weekend at Fetterman win. I don't care. You're of no use to me. You're a waste of my time. So here's Herschel Walker.
That are trying to help Raphael Warnock.
Well, when they attacking me, that meaning that they're scared of me. They know I'm going to be the one to win that seat because they're going to come out and try to attack me. They continue to bring up things that is really helping me. I wanted them. I'm glad they brought up the attack with my ex-wife. This is done a long time ago. It was done to help people because that commercial there only tells people I'm going to continue to be a warrior. I'm going to continue to fight.
Wait, what did you say, Mike? What is going on? What did he say? What is he talking about? So I have nothing against Herschel Walker, but he's running for Senate, man. Like, this isn't like some random YouTube channel or something. Like, it's not like some idiot in his basement with a YouTube channel called Stuck in the Middle wearing an Occupy Mars shirt. Like, this dude is running for Senate. This is a question that we all have been waiting for. We know he's been asked before. He should be prepared for it. I mean, the challenge should be he should be almost so prepared for it that it, you know, you don't want it to sound like a canned response. So I didn't have a problem with how he started out. He started out saying, well, if they're attacking me, I know they're scared of me. No problem with that.
From the media and some of these political action groups that are trying to help Raphael Warnock.
Well, when they attacking me, that meaning that they're scared of me.
No problem with that.
They know I'm going to be the one to win that seat because they're going to come out and try to attack me.
No problem with that.
You know, they continue to bring up things that is really helping me.
Okay, so that's the first moment, which it's not over yet. He can save that, but that's the first moment when I was like,
spider sense start tingling.
The first time I saw this video, I was like, okay, where things that can help.
Spider sense start tingling.
Okay, but he can save it. That's not the end of the world. But I am tingling a little bit.
I wanted them. I'm glad they brought up the attack with my ex-wife. This is
okay. So at that point, like everything's tingling. Like, it's not spidey sense. It's like it's like cringe. So he said it twice. I'm like, okay, it's still not over. And he's like, I'm glad they brought it up. Okay, so obviously, if he's glad they brought it up, he's going to talk about where he was and how he's evolved. Right? Like, that's the only reason that you'd be glad. You glad that they brought up what? Like that? Like, no, that you can't be glad. Like, so it's got to be your progress as a man, right?
Me. I wanted them. I'm glad they brought up.
I wanted them to bring it up. Okay. Okay. So save it. It's not over yet. Save it.
The attack with my ex-wife. This is done a long time ago. It was done to help.
Done a long time ago. Okay, that's not great, but okay, I got you. Where are you going next?
People, because that
it's to help people. What the hell?
My ex-wife. This is done a long time ago. It was done to help people.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Now it's over. Now he's off the rail. It's a train that's off the tracks, and you don't know what's gonna happen next. This is why he's not debating Warnock. Who chose this? Who chose Herschel Walker? Come on, man. This is y'all making me do Joe Biden again. Come on, man. I'm serious. Who chose him? That's not. Everybody knows about this stuff. Basically, you know, who follows sports or any of knows that this stuff was in his past.
Brought up the attack with my ex-wife. This is done a long time ago. It was done to help people because that commercial there only tells people I'm going to continue to be a warrior. I'm going to continue to fight for mental health. We have a mental health problem in this country, so I'm going to continue to fight for that.
Is it? Jeez. Okay. It doesn't excite me to have to do this, so I'm just going to stop, man. I just can't do that anymore. Well, that's the end of it anyway. That's not a Senate candidate, guys. Like, I don't know who needs to. I don't know who needs to hear this, but that's not a candidate for Senate. Okay. Don't try to put him in front of me. I don't know who tested this dude. It's just name recognition, I guess. Is that all you're trying to do? Nah, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. And I'll just reiterate why. It's because you had a chance, that terrible moment, talking about mental health, you have an opportunity to humanize the populist right, to say, I am a real person and I made real mistakes, real terrible mistakes. Here's how I've evolved, And that's why I am focusing. I had mental health issues. Here's why I'm focusing on it now. You know the people in D.C. like Mitt Romney and Lindsey Graham? They're messed up in the head right now. I've gone through the evolution. I am for real issues to help real people. So do you think that I'm going to be in the Senate and propose lockdowns to the nation that we know have really hurt the mental outlook with depression and all types of things with especially young people, but people in general? Do you think with my history and where I've come and the focus that I put on mental health issues that I would ever let that go down without putting up the biggest political fight you've ever seen in your life? After what's happened over the last 2 years, I am the one that you need in D.C. Trust me. They're not talking about mental health. They're causing mental health problems. That's I mean, it's right there. Right there for you to handle. And it's for you to get the handoff and run to the end zone. You're not the right one, bro. Get out. Stop. Just stop. I don't care if Raphael Warnock goes back. You're not the right one. I'm not in the mood for lesser of two evils. I'm not in the mood for, he could be like a MAGA. No, I'm not in the mood for that. Find better Senate candidates. What's going on in Georgia? David Perdue and was it Loeffler? Some of the worst Senate candidates I have ever seen. What is going on? You can't find a better candidate for Senate than Herschel Walker? It was there for a layup, and I'm going to show you Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just so I can show you what it sounds like. They stripped Marjorie Taylor Greene of her committee seats. We now know why, in my opinion, is because they knew she was going to cause problems. She's fearless. Her cajones are dragging on the sidewalk. That's why they didn't want her on any committees. But hopefully if MAGA takes over, if the Republicans don't take over the House in the midterms, so I don't want to assume anything, but she would be back on committees. They took her off committees. They tried to smear her, and she used it as an opportunity to humanize herself. They didn't play this a lot. They tried to make fun of her for this, but this was one of my favorite speeches over the last few years of any person in the House. It was humble. It was authentic. It was honest. This is what she's in Georgia too. Why? I don't know how you could have Herschel Walker going through this problem, and she's also in Georgia, and she's the House one, and he's running for Senate. And why don't they connect? She should. I don't know. Herschel Walker isn't prepared. This is what it sounds like.
Madam Speaker, my Democrat colleagues, Republican colleagues, my district back home in Georgia 14, to the American people, to my mom and dad, and my husband and my children. I've been here for 1 month and a day, and I've gotten to know part of my conference, my Republican colleagues, but not even all of them yet. I haven't gotten to know any of my Democrat colleagues, and I haven't had to have any conversations with any of you to tell you who I am and what I'm about. You only know me by how Media Matters, CNN, MSNBC, and the rest of the mainstream media is portraying me. What you don't know about me is that I'm a very proud wife of almost 25 years, that I'm a mother of 3 children, and I consider being a mother the greatest blessing of my life and the greatest thing that I'll ever achieve. I'm proudly the first person to graduate college in my family, making my parents very happy and proud. I'm also a very successful business owner. We've grown our company from 1 state to 11 states. I'm a very hard worker. I've always paid my taxes. I've never been arrested. I've never done drugs, but I've gotten a few speeding tickets in my day. What you need to know about me is I'm a very regular American, just like the people I represent in my district and most people across the country. I never ever considered to run for Congress or even get involved in politics. As a matter of fact, I wasn't a political person until I found a candidate that I really liked, and his name is Donald J. Trump when he ran for president. To me, he was someone I could relate to, someone that I enjoyed his plain talk, not the offensive things, but just the way he talked normally. And I thought, finally, maybe this is someone that will do something about the things that deeply bother me, like the fact that we're so deeply in debt that our country has murdered over 62 million people in the womb. The fact that our borders are open and some of my friends have had their children murdered by illegal aliens. Or perhaps that maybe we can stop sending our sons and daughters to fight in foreign wars and be used as the world's police, basically. Or maybe that our government would stand up for our American businesses and our American jobs and make the American people and the American taxpayers their focus. These are the things that I care about deeply. So when we elected President Trump, and then I started seeing things in the news that didn't make sense to me, like Russian collusion, which are conspiracy theories also, and have been proven so. These things bothered me deeply, and I realized just watching CNN or Fox News, I may not find the truth. And so what I did is I started looking up things on the internet, asking questions like most people do every day. Use Google. And I stumbled across something, and this was at the end of 2017, called QAnon. Well, these posts were mainly about this Russian collusion information. A lot of it was some of what I would see on the news at night, and I got very interested in it. So I posted about it on Facebook, I read about it, I talked about it, I asked questions about it, and then more information came from it. But you see, here's the problem. Throughout 2018, because I was upset about things and didn't trust the government really, because the people here weren't doing the things that I thought they should be doing for us, the things that I just told you I cared about. And I want you to know, a lot of Americans don't trust our government, and that's sad. The problem with that is, though, is I was allowed to believe things that weren't true, and I would ask questions about them and talk about them. And that is absolutely what I regret.
Why would you regret that? In the search of truth, you have to find lies or you're not going to find the truth. You calibrate on it. So I hate to it's such a great speech. I hate to interrupt it, but she didn't even need to apologize for that. For what? I've probably found wrong. Oh, I know for a fact I've been duped by information, found wrong information. I find it and I find it's wrong, admit it's wrong, and then I move on and learn from it.
Because if it weren't for the Facebook post and comments that I liked in 2018, I wouldn't be standing here today, and you couldn't point a finger and accuse me of anything wrong, because I've lived a very good life that I'm proud of, my family's proud of, my husband's proud of, my children are proud of, and that's what my district elected me for. So later in 2018, when I started finding misinformation, lies, things that were not true in these QAnon posts, I stopped believing it. And I want to tell you, any source, and I say this to everyone, any source of information that is a mix of truth and a mix of lies is dangerous, no matter what it is saying, what party it is helping, anything or any country it's about. It's dangerous. And these are the things that happen on the left and the right. And it is a true problem in our country. So I walked away from those things, and I decided I'm going to do what I've done all my life. I'm going to work hard and try to solve the problems that I'm upset about. So I started getting involved in politics. You see, school shootings are absolutely real. And every child that is lost, those families mourn it. I understand how terrible it is, because when I was 16 years old in 11th grade, my school was a gun-free school zone, and one of my schoolmates brought guns to school and took our entire school hostage. And that happened right down the hall from my classroom. I know the fear that David Hogg had that day. I know the fear that these kids have. And this is why, and I say this sincerely with all my heart, because I love our kids, every single one of your children, all of our children. I truly believe that children at school should never be left unprotected. I believe they should be just as protected as we were with 30,000 National Guardsmen. Our children are our future, and they're our most precious resource. I also want to tell you 9/11 absolutely happened. I remember that day crying all day long watching it on the news. And it's a tragedy for anyone to say it didn't happen. And so that I definitely want to tell you, I do not believe that it's fake. I also want to tell you that we've got to do better. You see, big media companies can take teeny tiny pieces of words that I've said, that you have said, any of us, and can portray us into someone that we're not. And that is wrong. Cancel culture is a real thing. It is very real. And when big tech companies like Twitter, you can scroll through and see where someone may have retweeted porn, this is a problem. This is a terrible, terrible thing. But yet, when I say that I absolutely believe with all my heart that God's creation is He created them male and female, and that should not be denied, when I am censored for saying those type of things, that is wrong. You see, here's the real situation. I decided to run for Congress because I wanted to help our country. I want Americans to have our American dream. I want to protect our freedoms. This is what I ran for Congress on. I never once said during my entire campaign, QAnon. I never once said any of the things that I am being accused of today during my campaign. I never said any of these things since I have been elected for Congress. These were words of the past, and these things do not represent me. They do not represent my district, and they do not represent my values. Here's what I can tell you. I am beyond grateful for this opportunity, and I'll tell you why. I believe in God with all my heart, and I'm so grateful to be humbled, to be reminded that I'm a sinner and that Jesus died on the cross to forgive me for my sins. And this is something that I absolutely rejoice in today to tell you all. And I think it's important for all of us to remember none of us are perfect. None of us are. And none of us can even come close to earning our way into heaven just by our acts and our works. But it's only through the grace of God.
Preach.
And this is why I will tell you, as a member of this Congress, the 117th Congress, I'm a passionate person. I'm a competitor. I'm a fighter. I will work with you for good things for the people of this country. But the things I will not stand for is abortion. I think it's the worst thing this country has ever committed. And if we are to say in God we trust, how do we murder God's creation in the womb? Another thing I will say to this body is I want to work with all of you for our people. It should be America first always, always, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if this Congress is to tolerate members that condone riots that have hurt American people, attacked police officers, occupied federal property, burned businesses and cities, but yet wants to condemn me and crucify me in the public square for words that I said and I regret a few years ago, then I think we are in a real big problem, a very big problem. What shall we do as Americans? Shall we stay divided like this? Will we allow the media that is just as guilty as QAnon of presenting truth and lies to divide us? Will we allow ourselves to be addicted to hate and hating one another? I hope not, because that's not the future I want for my children, and it's not the future I want for any of your children. I yield back my time. Thank you.
There's not much for me to add to that. It's one of the best speeches on the floor that I've probably ever heard in D.C. Much respect. I want to show you why I like the populist left. And I talk about Jimmy Dore a lot. So I see we got some, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert if they don't put hands on each other, I think maybe they could make a ticket at one point. But they got to keep hands off. I don't know if y'all heard about that story. I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe it. That hands were you probably. Lauren, you probably don't want those problems. I talked about yesterday, Marjorie Taylor Greene's biceps are bigger than mine, so I don't think you want those problems. But Jimmy Dore is on the populist left, and you just heard a speech from the populist right, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was barely a month in Congress when she made that speech, when they kicked her off of those committees. They knew she was going to be a problem, even as a minority party. Because the minority party can't really do much in those committees. They knew she was a problem. Jimmy Dore would be a problem too. I'd love to see Jimmy Dore in Congress or Senate, whatever. I would vote for Jimmy Dore 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 over Herschel Walker, period. And I'm going to show you why. Just to reset, we've talked about this multiple times, but just in case someone hasn't seen it. So we know Trump, MTG, Steve Bannon are on the populist right, small government, America first. Populist left is pay off my student loans, Medicare for all, those type of things. We're looking at the left now. Nina Turner says, my prediction of the fallout of the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago is that we're probably going to see a bunch of MAGA Republicans call to abolish FBI. She was right, but I don't get the point. What's the point of the tweet? So what? The populist left is supposed to agree with that. So you would think she would just agree. She might have been just making a prediction, so Jimmy might have misinterpreted because it's Twitter. But even if she was just making a prediction, who cares? What's the point of that? She's a leader on the populist left. It's a stupid tweet. It's a ridiculous tweet. It's a tweet you would expect from some 18-year-old fake populist left that doesn't even know what life is about. So Jimmy Dore comes on top of it, says when lefties, call Nina Turner a Democrat lefty now, cheer on the FBI, you know they're serious about being a Democrat. So Nina Turner didn't like Jimmy coming on top of her like that on the quote tweet, basically accusing her of being a fake populist. On that side, if you call somebody a Democrat, that means you're fake, like AOC. So Nina Turner replies again. When Jimmy Dore, she replies again with, where's my link? See if I can find it. It's a quote tweet. Hopefully they put it at the top because it's the biggest quote tweet of all these quote tweets. She comes on top of Jimmy Dore, and I lost the tweet already. I'm interested to see what he said, right? Jimmy Dore. So he's on, that's a channel I used to listen to, but let me see if I can find it real quick. So basically Nina Turner pulls the race card. She called him anti-black. So that's why I'm going to search on the term anti-black. So she says when Jimmy Dore knocks a black progressive woman, you see the conversation had nothing to do with being black or not. When Jimmy Dore knocks a black progressive woman for pointing out conservative hypocrisy when it comes to the FBI, you know he's serious about being anti-black and protecting conservatives. So I just had to lay that out so you understand the context for this. This is why Jimmy Dore went on, friend of show, the Convo Couch, populist left, love the show. He went on, and I said, if you want to know why I rock with Jimmy Dore, just listen to this clip. This is what authentic leadership sounds like.
It was very disappointing to see her. You can disagree with my criticism, but you got to call someone a racist because they criticized you, and that just shows you that I hit a nerve. She knows she's a Democrat, and this is all first of all, that tweet of hers calling out their right wing's hypocrisy about the FBI. You call out their hypocrisy when they're in the wrong. You don't call out their hypocrisy when they're in the right. You welcome them over to the correct side. If they now start to come on board for Medicare for all, are you going to then flip them off and call them assholes because they used to say they were against it? That's not how this is supposed to work. So now that it's happened to the Republicans
So I want to bring that back again. what he's saying is he's wrong, but that's irrelevant. His point is, if we agree, let's just agree. It's not hard. That's what he's saying. I'm saying he's wrong because the people that I talked to, they never been with the FBI. But it doesn't matter. There's people don't understand the populist right or left. We don't understand each other. He's saying, why are you attacking them if they're in an area that you agree with?
Flip them off and call them assholes because they used to say they were against it. That's not how this is supposed to work. So now that it's happened to the Republicans or the MAGA, the Trump supporters, now they'll see. Now they get it. They're like, oh, the FBI is corrupt. So you should welcome them. You shouldn't then keep flipping them off and shitting on them. And that's all the Democrats have. And that's what Nina Turner is.
This is a leader. This is somebody you can work with. It doesn't matter what you believe, especially nowadays. It's a matter of, are you based in truth and can I work with you? Do you actually want to work? So imagine you just heard the speech from Marjorie Taylor Greene, where she literally said, I want to work with people. She's a month in to Congress, never served before, learning the ropes. I believe she really wanted to work with people. Imagine if Jimmy Dore was in the House. I guarantee you, she and Jimmy Dore would sit down and work on, anti-interventionist policy. They would work on abolishing the FBI, ATF. They would work on areas where they agree, instead of Cori Bush, who's going to call everybody under the sun a racist, except for Joe Biden, who referred to young black children as roaches crawling on his damn hairy legs. So I don't really care about calling somebody racist or not, but if you are going to be calling somebody racist, how are you not talking about this dude? They're fake. And I wish Jimmy was in D.C.
She's a Democrat. That's where her future is. That's what this is about, her career in the Democratic Party. This is about her career. This isn't about any principle, because if it was about a principle, she would be welcoming those people who are criticizing the FBI instead of flipping them off and then doing the cheapest bullshit, hiding behind identity politics. Oh my God, calling out and calling hey, you want to disagree with me about the FBI? Let's disagree about it. But she can't do it because she knows she's in the wrong. And so she does that thing. She's the pits, man.
Does she realize who her president is, what administration she worked for? And he says, you're running a cover for one of the most anti-black administrations in recent history. You're excusing the political weaponization of a domestic terror organization, the FBI, with a history of anti-black activity that includes kidnapping, rape, torture, and murder. But sure, blame Jimmy Dore. And I mean, amazing tweet out there too as well. I mean, Joe Biden, who wrote the crime bill, and you want to come over there and says, because Jimmy says that you're being critical of the FBI, that he's anti-black. I mean, is not this administration one of the most anti-black administrations that we've ever known?
Search the Convo Couch on YouTube. Great channel. Let me know what you think about that one. So this Tulsi thing with her and I still like Tulsi. I know she was I don't know what it means that her picture was in this young emerging WUF leaders. I don't know what that means. I have to go by what people say. Like Dan Crenshaw, like Adam Kinzinger eye patch, or McCain with the eye patch. What he says is suspect. So it's not even for me about the WEF. He was also a young WEF in the same picture as Tulsi. He's going down the path of being a fake, a phony, a fraud. He just recently supported Liz Cheney. Tulsi is based. She's stayed consistent. She's not good on 2A, but she's good on other issues. And she's able to fill in on Tucker. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Marjorie Taylor Greene working with Jimmy Dore. I guarantee you they would work together on Assange, on all these type of things that we agree on, free speech. And you see Tucker working with Tulsi. Tulsi is a Dem. She's a leftist. She's a former Bernie something, worked with Bernie. But it doesn't matter. She's based in truth. We don't have to agree on everything. We can work together. And she was great filling in for Tucker. And I loved seeing her smile like that. To me, it felt really authentic that she was like grateful. She knew it was a special moment for a lot of people. She knew a lot of people were going to attack her, but she didn't care about that. She has that aloha spirit. That's my take on it. I could be wrong. She could be fake, phony, and I could be getting fooled. I fully understand that. But right now, I think she's for real. This was if you have young kids, this one might hit home. And especially with me, it's hit home because we're talking about a dad with a young child 3 years old. I've got a child 3 years old. I've got two sons, 5 and 3. And he's out in California. So I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just relaying the news through Libs of TikTok, one of the most prominent and most important Twitter accounts out there in the world. Says this is really scary. Dad claims doctor asked his 3-year-old if he's a boy or a girl at a routine checkup.
All right, I need to know if any parents of young kids have had this same experience. So we just took my 3-year-old son in the doctor for a checkup. My 3-year-old son. Okay, there's a reason why I'm emphasizing that, and you're about to know why. So my wife and I are waiting in the room with our son, and the doctor comes in. And he sees my son sitting there on the table, and the first question that he asks him is, "Are you a boy or are you a girl?" And I look at my wife like, what the? So luckily my son understands obvious tenets of biology at 3 years old, and says that he's a boy, just like his chart says. So the rest of the appointment, I can't even focus because I'm wondering why in the world this guy is asking the question. And then I remember, oh yeah, I live in California. And call me paranoid, but this is where I think we're heading based on other things that have happened. An Ohio couple lost custody of their teenager for refusing them hormone treatment. And a divorced Texas couple were in a court battle over whether or not to let their 7-year-old transition from a boy to a girl. And many are saying that the new proposed Equality Act could lead to more parents losing custody of their kids who want gender transition. So again, call me paranoid, but I'm wondering if the doctor is asking the question of my son to see if he can establish a pattern over time that shows that my son wants to be a girl. But here's the thing, my son is 3. I'm not even going to let him choose what he wants for dinner. And some days, my son thinks he's a dinosaur, but I'm not going to let him transition to a dinosaur. And being in California, this is probably going to happen to people like me first, but I don't think it's going to be long before we start seeing parents lose custody of their young kids because they're not letting them transition to the opposite gender. And I think pediatricians are going to be the ones who are going to start calling it out.
Yeah, this is a good comment in regards to this. Adrenaline Junkie says, Osiris, I think your main issue is that you still trust people involved with politics. It's a game. Gaslighting is the #1 play. That is a fair comment. I trust no one, but talking about I rock and roll with Kari Lake or Tulsi or whatever, Jimmy Dore or whatever, yeah, that's kind of showing a little bit of trust. What that relates to with this father who's in California and the doctor is asking his 3-year-old son, are you a boy or a girl, is that's something that you need to lose trust in that doctor immediately. And you're in a state or an area where you've got to get the hell out of. That's the big problem. He's in an area of the country where he's got to go. It is gone fast. Now it could be no big thing. It could be just one doctor. But the problem is, for me, I don't trust the state anymore. Don't trust you. You've lost my trust over the last 2 years at least. I don't trust you and your agenda to be asking my son what if he's a boy or a girl. It's on his chart. So are you looking at trying to take him away? Did you get a vibe from me that I was not a corporate type of dude, like buying into this corporate stuff? This is a way to me. So here's my thing. I do not have anything against, I'm going to talk about some details about this gender affirming care. If you want gender affirming care for your child, a lot of people in the chat disagree with this, and that's okay. That's okay if we disagree. But if a parent and a child and a doctor agree on something, then that's none of my business. If the state wants to remove license, I don't know how that works, the medical license, then that means the doctor can't approve. But if they do have the ability to approve on some of these surgeries and care, then it's none of my business if a parent, child, and a doctor want to do that. So I'm not coming from the standpoint of authoritarianism or wanting to make something illegal. I'm not a medical doctor. I think it'll be handled in the courtroom. If people are doing this care, then down the road, they're going to be, if they're unhappy, they're going to sue, and that will stop it. If they're not unhappy and they're not suing, then more power to you. So I want to make sure it's clear because I'm going to get into some more dicey topics here that we have to talk about this stuff. We can't ignore this. This is a video that Libs of TikTok shared, and it was concerning to many people. You might have seen this. It went viral, over 1 million views, 1.5 million views from Boston Children's Hospital.
Gender-affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur. A hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix, which is the opening of the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, which are attached to the sides of the uterus. Some gender-affirming hysterectomies will also include the removal of the ovaries, but that's technically a separate procedure called a bilateral oophorectomy. And not every gender-affirming hysterectomy includes that, and people who are getting gender-affirming hysterectomies do not have to have their ovaries removed.
So that's the video.
Gender-affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur.
And we're talking about some really serious procedures here. So you can understand why people might look at it and say, I don't know what's happening here. Are we sure that this is safe? Are we sure this is the right thing to do? Not from any place of hate, just from the place of this is not something that has been so prevalent. What are we really doing here? Some people are looking into it. People saw it. People are saying, hey, what's happening? What do we need to do? Like, should this be legal? Are we sure this is safe? We're dealing with children. So it's almost like they're boasting. If you have to do these procedures, they're so serious. I would hope that you wouldn't want them to come across as like I'm proud. You know, not that you're not proud, but that this is not for everyone. This is a very serious thing. You don't promote it like it's no big deal, basically, is what I would say about it. What I would say I would hope for with this. So I've been following it because I'm like, this is kind of, it's just kind of weird to me. And I want to know like what's true, what's not true about it. So then I follow some more on it, and PolitiFact did a fact check on this. And I'm like, okay, this is one of those moments where I actually wanted to see a fact check. So they did a fact check on it, and the fact check was kind of odd because when you go into the fact check, this is the part that got me like, wait a second, what's happening here? When I went into the fact check, let me pull up the article here. So I went into the fact check, and then it's like it's a children's hospital, right? And then it says, although the Center for Gender Surgery is inside a pediatric hospital, medical treatment is offered only to eligible adolescents and young adults. What is that? So you look at the fact check, they tried to say that it was wrong because the Center for Gender Surgery at Boston Children's Hospital does not provide hysterectomies to patients younger than 18. But then it said adolescents here. Then it said, although it's inside a pediatric for children hospital, medical treatment is offered only to eligible. An adolescent is not an adult by definition, and young adults. So I'm like, does a children's hospital do work on a 18-year-olds? I've never heard that before. Maybe they do. I don't know. It just all feels really murky. It doesn't, something doesn't feel right. if you're doing these procedures, wouldn't you make a statement and say, well, Libs of TikTok shared this video, here's what we believe? To my knowledge, there has not been any statement that's been made. Wouldn't you want to make a statement? Wouldn't you want to clarify what's happening? You go into the Wayback Machine. Other people have done this work. I'm just sharing the tweet. And the last capture of this website was August 12th. It did not have on their website this phrase, we only perform gender affirming hysterectomies on patients who are 18 or older. So they did an edit on the website. They also just updated the website to include the words, all genital surgeries are only performed on patients age 18 and older. None of the very important things we have been critical of was on the website a couple days ago. So if Libs of TikTok just caused the attention for them to clarify what they've always been doing, then I think that's fine. Like, they haven't been doing it for young people, but I'm seeing conflicting information. At the end of the day, this is another thing that is dividing us. I can say all I want until I'm blue in the face that if a parent, doctor, and child agree on a procedure, that they've got to be able to have the right to do that. But if people don't want to really share a society with somebody who thinks that that's the right thing to do, then it still falls apart. I can say whatever I want to say, but we're not going to be able to share it. You won't want to be judged by a jury of your peers who don't even see the world. They see the world so much different than you do. They can't be your peers. They have to be a different country. So this is important stuff. We've got to respectfully figure it out. I don't know what the answers are. Let me know if you know what the answers are, or if you've got suggestions. It's sad. And it's sad. This is a sad situation for the young. If the surgeries work then, or the treatments work, then great. But it's a sad situation for a country that we are that far apart. I'm looking at it like this, Adrenaline Junkie. Also, thank you. Adrenaline Junkie says, I look at everything through the lens, is this going to destroy society? I'm kind of looking at it like that too. And I know it's a pipe dream, but if we are going to fracture society, I would like to lay it down like you're holding an egg as gently as possible instead of smashing it on the ground. Because you can easily smash it on the ground and just fracture it. I want to gently put it on the ground and then do what we need to do. I know a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people disagree on that, and that's probably a more libertarian. Well, I don't know. A lot of libertarians disagree with it also. But here's what I will say, Katie. If we can show, if I had to choose a side, I'm going to be on the side that bans it. So let's be clear. And that's the choices that we're given very often. If I have to choose, I'm not going to be in California. So let me be clear about that. But I will say, if you interject in these type of things, government-wise, then you can interject into anything government-wise. But if the government can show, and this is what they're doing in Florida, like I think they're saying, hey, we have data that this is harmful. They don't even do it like this in Europe. We have to make our own decision. But if you've got statistics, I haven't read all the statistics. Each side has statistics. So I don't know who to believe or what to believe. But if a state wants to ban it, then I'm all for if a state wants to ban it. That's up to the citizens of the state. But to me, I know it would cause harm to have some people go through this procedure. This is not something that's totally new. It's becoming more popular. But ultimately, if it doesn't work out, If you put a child through that and then they have regrets, parents aren't happy. I mean, this is not cheap stuff. These are people who have money that are doing this. My point is they would have money to sue. And then if they're suing and this procedure is not working out, then it would go defunct. But yeah, I know, this is crazy. I mean, people, we use this term gender affirming care, but what we're talking about is mutilation. I'm not saying, so if you feel like that's the right thing for your child, it is hard for me to see that or kind of relate to that. But let's be real, when we're talking about some of it, not all of it, some of it, is puberty blockers or whatever, all that stuff. But some of it is literally, if the surgery that they're talking about is literally mutilation. So we've gone to that place, man. We are in a crazy place. I don't know how we get out of this. How do you go back from people who are willing to mutilate children? I don't know how you get back from that. You don't get back from that. You do the Homer Simpson kind of like, I'm going to have to retreat to my own place, because it sounds like you might be in a death cult. I'm not saying that. I mean, that's what it sounds like. And I do think critical race theory is a death cult. I haven't brought it up. I haven't really brought it up from a general standpoint in a minute. Critical race theory, but I was listening to, I forget who I was listening to, and they couldn't explain what. I was listening to Timcast, actually. It was the after show, and who's the comedian? Jamie. The comedian was on there, and he was like, and no beef to him. I didn't know what it was either. And he was like, what is critical race theory? And it's frustrating that people don't understand something to me that is really simple. I mean, to explain, you can get more in depth, but it's really simple to explain. If somebody asks what critical race theory is, all it is the belief that everything is racist. That's it. That's all it is. It's a very simple thing to explain. They might say, well, what do you mean everything's racist? No, I mean, literally, it's the belief that literally everything is racist. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like everything. Like Occupy Mars is racist. You could make anything racist. Like the Occupy Mars is SpaceX, the push to get to Mars. You could say, well, why would you spend that money on Mars? You should be fighting systemic racism. I'm on the channel and I'm playing a speech from Marjorie Taylor Greene. They'll say that's racist. Why is that racist? Because I'm not playing a speech from Cori Bush or something like that. There's no right or wrong. You can make up anything. That's what it is. That's all it is. If somebody asks you that, that's all it is. It makes me frustrated when people can't articulate it. I know it's simple to define, but it's hard to find the definition. I can understand that. But since I've got the definition, at least that's my definition of it, it's frustrating when people can't articulate it. It also is frustrating when you have people like Ben Shapiro and others that make it more complicated than it needs to be. Because really, you could argue that the origins were in Harvard Law School in '79. You could argue that. And then you could say, well, that's critical race theory. And you could say, well, that's critical race theory. What you're talking about doesn't exist in schools. Derek Bell was the popular law professor, Harvard, who came up with this idea. It spawned into something more. What we're talking about is how we use the term in everyday language. What does it mean to us? We're not talking about a law, a theory of law. So technically you could say, what's critical race theory in practice or praxis? No, I don't need to say that. This is what I mean by it. If you can define recession however you want to define recession, If you can if you can define the Fauci juice, however you want to define the Fauci juice, I'm defining this, which is based in way more truth than anything that other people in the corporate narrative define. I'm defining it as that simple. So I don't need to put praxis on it. I don't need to put any qualifications on it. That's what it is. I talked about the Nina Turner anti-black. That's critical race theory. The topic had nothing to do with a black identity. Critical race theory is the philosophy that gives her the power to levy accusations as serious as somebody being racist, or in her word, anti-black. I don't know if she was scared to say racist, or racist doesn't mean anything anymore. Is that she believes it. That's it. So what's racist? It's whatever you believe is racist. There's no definition of that. If you say, hey, the fact that somebody owns a car and I don't own a car, that's racist. You can't question it. And what does racism really mean? All it means is, do you believe in critical race theory? If you don't believe in critical race theory, you are racist. That's what racism really means now. If you believe in critical race theory, then you will be forgiven of your racism. That's why people in Hollywood, you see the Friends. I did a video on the Friends creator who said they didn't have enough representation. You have, if she didn't say that, she would be called racist. You have to believe in this. It's so powerful that it converted the 2020 Libertarian Party presidential candidate into an authoritarian. Joe Jurgensen tweeted famously, infamously, "It's not enough to be passively not racist. We must be actively anti-racist." This is the Libertarian Party. Of old, it's new now. They've gotten rid of all this trash. And now the Mises Caucus is taken over, and you're going to see a much better run party. We already seen that. And I'll talk about that in a second. But this is the Libertarian Party. They had to take over this nonsense. Black Lives Matter. She claims that a staffer or somebody tweeted it, but that doesn't work for me. She hasn't replied to it, denouncing it. It's hers. She owns this. That's how powerful it is. All roads to critical race theory lead toward immense centralized power. That's the purpose of it. They were asking Michael Heiss of the Libertarian Party. They took verbiage out of their kind of mantra or byline. I don't even know what the right term for it is. They took this word, like this stuff about bigots, out of there. The reason why is, who gets to define what a bigot is? Is Ibram X. Kendi a bigot? Am I a bigot? Who gets to choose that? The authority does. That doesn't fit with the Libertarian Party. So that doesn't mean they support bigots. That means they support the right for you to decide who a bigot is or bigot isn't. I decide what a bigot is or a racist is, and I don't support people who fit that definition. But my definition doesn't have to match yours. That's why they took it out of their mantra. That's why that Joe Jurgensen comment is nonsense. What is racist? Who gets to decide that? Joe Jurgensen was being authoritarian, and she didn't even know it. I don't think she still knows it to this day. Don't take my word for it, though. I've brought this up many times, but it is so astounding, I must bring it up again. Ibram X. Kendi, critical race theory expert, stated, to fix the original sin of racism, Americans should pass an anti-racist amendment to the Constitution that enshrines two guiding anti-racist principles. Racial inequity is evidence of racist policy, and the different racial groups are equals. The amendment would make unconstitutional racial inequity over a certain threshold. That's some power, right? Who gets to choose that? The government gets to choose that. as well as racist ideas by public officials, with racist ideas and public official clearly defined. By who? Not to, they wouldn't let me define it. Why would I have to go by your definition of something that is completely subjective? That's like saying, like, I'm going to decide what you eat for dinner tonight. Well, no, you won't. In their eyes, yes, we will. It'd probably be crickets. It would establish and permanently fund the Department of Anti-Racism, the DOA. For me, that means dead on arrival. And that doesn't mean their program. If they were to institute that, I mean, you would be unlived on arrival if you don't obey. Compromised of formally trained. Compromised of formally trained experts on racism and no political appointees. So they're saying that there's going to be experts on what is racist and what isn't. You know, Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, I think you are racist. Am I formally trained enough? I'm formally trained in my life to not fall for power-hungry middle management like yourself, doing the bidding for your overlords. You, sir, are racist. But no, I wouldn't have that power. He would have the power. The DOA would be responsible for pre-clearing all local, state, and federal public policies to ensure they won't yield racial inequity, monitor those policies, investigate private racist policies when racial inequity surfaces, and monitor public officials for expressions on racial ideas. Is that it? That's why these people don't believe in God. They think they are God. Is that it? Is that all you want, Dr. Ibram X. Kendi? He wants to pass a constitutional amendment. He said pre-clearing local, state, and federal public policies. He wants to go to your city and pre-clear the laws of your city from the federal level. Like, China doesn't even understand what this is. They would be jealous of this power. The DOA would be empowered with disciplinary tools. What that means is they could literally whip your ass in the public square just because. It would fit, right? As revenge for slavery. The DOA would be empowered with disciplinary tools. Like a whip? Like, what does that mean? Disciplinary tools to wield over and against policymakers and public officials who do not voluntarily change their racist policy and ideas. This is not a meme. This is not a joke. This is real. I just felt like bringing it up. I haven't talked about it in a while. It's unbelievable, man. It's like, I feel like I literally am in the Truman Show. Like this can't be real. It's so powerful. They got the Libertarian Party presidential candidate in 2020 to believe everything I just wrote right there. Man. The number of this bill is hilarious. Ayanna Pressley has this bill that she introduced to codify racial inequities through the guise of public health. This is not a joke. I have a link. This is a screenshot of the actual bill. The number of the bill of this Anti-Racism Public Health Act of 2021 is HR 666. Ray Studios, he probably already knew that. He's probably he's beside himself at this point. Like, how am I supposed to believe? Is that just a coincidence? Literally the mark of the devil on the bill. You can't make this stuff up. It's unbelievable. So just spread the news, man. Let people know. That's what I say. Katie Maria, I'm still, a lot of people on the channel have talked to me about Yuri Bezmenov, and I've watched some videos, but I'm still not like perfectly expert on him. When he was a Russian KGB, was he Russian KGB? Just like a CIA for Russia, basically. And just talked about everything like out in the open. He was something else. I saw this clip from Steven Crowder on Martha Bueno. Martha Bueno is an interesting candidate for some local position in Florida, I believe. Why would I even be talking about her? Well, she's put some work in there to have me bring her up. And I did talk about the state senator who was standing on her head twerking. I already forgot her name. Hell of a moment. And I clowned her for it. And I saw this and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to clown you too, Martha. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm going to have to give you feedback that this ain't the way. But I saw this thumbnail. So Steven Crowder got me with this thumbnail. And then the title, OnlyFans Politician. And that look on his face, I was like, okay, what's going on here? I said, I guarantee Mrs. Crowder did not approve of the look on Steven Crowder's face for this thumbnail. Bueno for Miami. What am I talking about here? Well,
and let me just roll this clip before we have her on the show. Martha Bueno is her name. She's a libertarian candidate for Miami-Dade commissioner.
As a correction, she's not the libertarian candidate.
And she is using OnlyFans to raise campaign funds. Let's roll the clip and then we'll go to Mud Club.
Don't understand it.
Democracy. Yeah. Use your boot. Hey.
That's cute.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Martha Bueno.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. I don't know how you found out about this so quickly on the show as we were discussing it. This is before the segment even ran. So let people know who don't know. You are, if I understand it, a libertarian candidate running for Miami-Dade commissioner, right?
I'm a nonpartisan candidate. I used to be a libertarian, and I am running for Miami-Dade County Commissioner in District 10.
Okay, really quickly there. Can you get her up on the on my monitor just so I can see her really quickly? So nonpartisan, you were a libertarian. I kind of thought libertarian was nonpartisan, but is it because of all the Bitcoin and weed you decided to just lose the moniker?
Yeah, I was on mute. Mute monster got me. But what I was saying was, this the way? Is this the right way? Thanks for Katie got me with the red. Truth got me too. I appreciate y'all. Is this the way? Is this the right way to do it? I talked about I forgot the name of the state senator who was twerking upside down. And I was like, that ain't the way. Is this the way? Now, I'm not going to lie. She looks good. No lies there. I'm not going to lie about that. But you're running for I know it's hard to get exposure. Like, to get the exposure that she's getting on Steven Crowder would be very difficult for some state, some local, which is very important. But Steven Crowder doesn't care about that. He just wants her on there for, the story. That's just not the way.
So dramatic. Don't understand it.
Democracy.
So she's going to talk about here kind of well, why'd you kind of do this?
You are, if I understand it, a libertarian candidate running for Miami-Dade commissioner, right?
I'm a nonpartisan candidate. I used to be a libertarian, and I am running for Miami-Dade County Commissioner in District 10.
Okay, really quickly there. Can you get her up on the on my monitor just so I can see her really quickly? So nonpartisan, you were a libertarian. I kind of thought libertarian was nonpartisan, but is it because of all the Bitcoin and weed you decided to just lose the moniker?
Oh, no. Bitcoin and weed is my thing. I decided to lose the libertarian because of the current situation within the party.
Okay. And what is it within the party?
I like that. She's real. The sad part is, she presented herself very well. The sad part is if you lead with that doesn't work. So Kari Lake, I played her earlier. She had a different approach. And what she did was, go after the media, the Hunter Biden's crack pipe. That was kind of her way to cut through and go viral. And it served the purpose of checking the media in their place. And it made me look at her in a more respectful manner. And I think that's important. Don't lead. It's difficult to go viral. It's difficult to combat when your opponent is spending a ton of money. But she's going to talk about, I didn't want to sell out. That doesn't make sense, though.
That made you want to be into it. Would you classify your views, I guess, as more libertarian, even though like small L libertarian?
Right. I am definitely a small L libertarian. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we just ran the clip here. Do I have this right? You're using an OnlyFans to raise campaign funds.
Semi. So I am using OnlyFans, but it wasn't to raise campaign funds. It was to precisely do what we are doing now.
Oh, so it was, hook, line, sinker.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's to get people like me to have you on so you can discuss your platform.
Well, the thing is, I'm going against a huge Republican candidate who has the complete machinery and $1.3 million for a job that pays $6,000 a year. So obviously, either I needed to sell myself out to be able to raise that kind of money and compete head to head, or I need to find other ways to do it. I think I like $6,000 a year. So obviously...
Blind sinker.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's to get people like me to have you on so you can discuss your platform.
Well, the thing is, I'm going against a huge Republican candidate who has the complete machinery and $1.3 million for a job that pays $6,000 a year. So obviously, either I needed to sell myself out to be able to raise that kind of money and compete head to head, or I need to find other ways to do it. I think I like this way a lot better.
You sold out either way. You sold out your credibility. Don't act like you didn't sell out. Because you're just saying it right now. That's the only reason you did it. And that's the lesson that I see from that. And that's all I wanted to really talk about. I don't care too much more about her. It's kind of sad for me to see. To think. I have no problem if you want. I have no problem with. I think I think sex work should be legal, actually. I don't think the government has any business. So what? You can take somebody out on a date, get them like a Happy Meal, and then have sex, and that's legal, but you can't pay somebody? I mean, come on. Kim Kardashian, blew up over the Ray J tape. I mean, is that legal or legal? That's silly to make it illegal. And she's not doing that. But what my point is I'm not knocking her, necessarily. Like, say she wanted to do an OnlyFans to make money, like in regular, like women or whoever, men, whoever's on OnlyFans to get tips and make money. I got no problem with you if that's the route you want to go. But if you are a politician and you want to serve the people and you want to be taken as somebody who's credible, then now I have a problem. Now you walking in a swimsuit is not what we need for you to make the case to me. I'm out on you. So I just thought that was interesting to bring that up. Yeah, you're right. I was probably distracted is why the mute monster got me. No, I mean, it's probably serious, to be honest with you. Metalopolis fooling, he said that he was hoping that Lauren Boebert would do that for her re-election campaign. Oh, man. I don't think she's ugly. She's not, I've never even really viewed her in that way. But, yeah, we all got our different types. For sure. Tesla is doing some big things still. Don't let anybody fool you. Tesla has self-driving cars. It's not fully yet, and that causes some controversy. But people can tell that they're getting closer and closer and closer to that ultimate goal of a full self-driving car. That's what's happening. Omar,
let's go hit this kid.
Whole Mars catalog, friend of show, one of the most prominent. He's the Jack Posobiec of the Tesla community, one of the most prominent tweeters, and constantly communicates with Elon Musk. Extremely bright, great marketer, and he is fully blown in this informational civil war. It's not just political, it's in the business realm as well. There's a lot of people who are trying to take down Elon Musk. I was extremely disappointed in Ralph Nader. I don't know if this is a new position or not, but Ralph Nader, I actually voted for Ralph Nader write-in. And, you could say it was a throwaway vote, but that's who I actually am. When I do my write-in votes, I'm actually like, who would I vote for president? Like, period. And I did Ralph Nader in 2016. In 2020, I did Andrew Yang. And I'm a big Tesla fan. I need to talk Tesla more because that's my wheelhouse. We've been talking about Elon Musk and buying Twitter. Nothing really too much new in that realm. But this is what I deserve for writing in Ralph Nader 2016 and Andrew Yang 2020. If I had to do it over again, I would have voted for Trump in both elections. Ralph Nader urges regulators to recall Tesla's manslaughtering full self-driving vehicles. Where is he getting his data from? That is absolute nonsense and misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. He called Tesla's deployment of full self-driving one of the most dangerous and irresponsible actions by a car company in decades. Ralph, you're wrong. That's embarrassing. It's an awful take. Ridiculous take. We have the receipts. We have the stats. I know everyone's not going to be for full self-driving. Not everybody was for the cell phone when it came out. Not everybody was for the car, the Model T when it came out. Everybody's not for technology when it advances. And really, technology doesn't care about your feelings. It will advance when it wants to advance. You can't stop it. If you wanted to take a time machine and stop the invention of the cell phone, you wouldn't be able to do it. It would be an episode of Quantum Leap that would not be resolved ever. go back in time and try to stop the invention of the cell phone. You might change history where somebody else invents it, or it's invented later, maybe, but you're not going to be able to stop it. You're not going to be able to stop transhumanism either. Don't think that. I like Alex Jones, but my interpretation is that he feels like you can stop transhumanism. You cannot, bruh. You cannot stop technology. It is impossible. It's just a part of our evolution. Scientists are working on mRNA based vaccines. They're working on robots. They're working on spider robots. They're working on drones that can do more things. They're working on these techno echo suits that you can go into just like the Matrix or something like that. They're working on these things, and you can't control the world and stop these scientists and engineers from working on stuff. They're working on putting on a chip in your brain, and as much as crazy as it sounds to many of us, you will not be able to stop that. Your children's children will have a chip in their brain, and it will be as common as this cell phone. They will laugh at you and your position right now where you say that you will never do it. They would laugh at you. And the same thing is going to happen with self-driving cars. Ralph Nader knows that. They all know that. What they want to do is control who wins in that battle. Who's first to the cell phone? Who's first to self-driving cars? Tesla has the lead, and it's not even close. Can't stop them. Here's a video we're going to talk about here. The wrong take that these cars aren't safe. Are they perfect? No. But the reason I'm passionate about this is because people who are speaking against Tesla and these self-driving cars, these cars are going to be safer. They are going to be orders of magnitude safer than human drivers. They've got cameras on all sides. You got a 360 view. They don't get tired. They don't fall asleep. They don't stop at a stoplight and check their cell phone for text messages or Twitter. They don't get distracted. They don't drive drunk. Are they perfect? No, but they will be orders of magnitude. What that means is multiply by 10 by 10 by 10 safer than human drivers. And what will decide that are statistics, not your arbitrary feelings, Ralph Nader. But let's look at Omar's catalog and the video he put together to fight this informational battle.
And let's go hit this kid.
Does Tesla's full self-driving beta really run over kids, as Green Hill Software CEO Dan O'Dowd claims? Or is Dan just lying about a life-saving technology to benefit himself financially? We set out today to find out with real tests, including on live humans. Now, you may remember Dan O'Dowd as the guy who took out a full-page New York Times ad against Tesla full self-driving, who ran for Senate in California on a single-issue campaign of banning Tesla FSD. Well, even though he lost the election, Dan hasn't given up. You may have recently seen his latest commercial on the air.
Elon Musk.
So you're going to see a Tesla hating commercial right here. If this was true, I would be the first person to say, this is too dangerous, this isn't good, let's stop this. I don't have like blind allegiance to people. I don't know Elon Musk. I don't care. Just like I said with Donald Trump. So if this was true, then I would be on that side.
Says Tesla's full self-driving software is amazing. It will blow your mind. But does it work? This happens over and over again. 100,000 Tesla drivers are already using full self-driving on public roads. I'm Dan O'Dowd. I'm a safety engineer. And Tesla full self-driving is the worst commercial software I've ever seen. Tell Congress to shut it down.
Paid for by the Dawn Project.
So we've taken these battles in our country to life and death. So he's got the Tesla running over child dummies, these little test car dummies over and over and over again. And most people don't know Tesla. So you get somebody who doesn't know about Tesla. They see this video. They might be like, damn, especially in California, they're like the Toyota. They're everywhere. Where you are might not. You see them everywhere. And you might be now looking at them sideways like they're not safe. They put too much time, money, and effort into this. I am very knowledgeable with Tesla. I spent hours upon hours researching Tesla. I don't know why. I just was fascinated about it. Started when my youngest son was born in 2019, and I was home. Luckily, gratefully for my real job, I was able to get paternity leave, something you would never have heard of back in the day. Grateful for that. I was able to spend 3 months with him, and we're around the house, and you got the baby. And I don't know how I got into it, but I got into Rich Rebuilds. Shout out to Rich Rebuilds, one of the greatest YouTube channels out there. And he, back in that time, or even before that time, would rebuild Teslas. So he would take a Tesla that was swamped out, literally like it was submerged in water and it didn't run anymore. And he would take it, put it on this flatbed bed, take it back to his crib. He was always a car guy. And he literally would take the Tesla apart like a puzzle, wire by wire, bolt by bolt. And he's such an entertaining, funny guy. So I watched hundreds of hours of Rich Rebuild doing this stuff because he's just so entertaining, so funny. And that's how I became knowledgeable in Tesla. It's funny. He told the good and bad, and Tesla didn't like it. But he actually got me into Tesla. So Tesla, Elon, Rich Rebuild was one of the best promoters of your product. He showed the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when you look at everything in the truth, the car came out as, to me, like one of the amazing feats of American manufacturing history. The rate of improvement, how clunky it was to start, and improved. And you see, with me following Tesla like this and investing stock in Tesla, to see people lie on Tesla like this gets me heated. It's about life and death, most importantly, but to see the hard work that people put in behind the scenes to the software to make it safe. You're looking at one of the safest cars on the road right now. Statistically, factually. I didn't like this at all. So props to Omar. He did his own thing to show you what is real life, what's reality.
Yeah. 100,000 Tesla drivers are already using full self-driving on public roads. I'm Dan O'Dowd. I'm a safety engineer. And Tesla full self-driving is the worst commercial software I've ever seen. Tell Congress to shut it down.
Paid for by the Dore Project.
All right, so we're about to do our first test. We got a dummy in the street. Let's see if FSD Beta hits it or what it does. Ready? I'm going to turn it on now.
So the car is in self-driving mode right now. It's not moving.
All right, it's refusing to move.
Because on the screen it sees the dummy.
It won't go. All right, attempt number 2. We moved the dummy a little further down the road. Let's see what happens. All right, the car's proceeding super cautiously. And it stops. It won't go.
What does it show? Can you make it full screen?
Yeah, so you can see there's a kid right here, rendered on the screen, and it refuses to go any further because there's a pedestrian detected.
Ready?
All right, test number 3. Now we've got the kid moved a little bit to the right. We're gonna see if it tries to go around the mannequin now that it's got a little more room. All right, and the car went around the mannequin.
So the car went around the mannequin kid.
All right, so for our next test, we've got a guy, Alvy, standing in the middle of the road. We're going to see how the car responds with a real person standing in the middle of the road. All right, the car has stopped and it refuses to move any further. Alvy, could you move out of the way, please? Onto the sidewalk. All right, so
another avenue here is if these cars do get approved for full self-driving, Tesla, we project that Tesla would be on the hook for insurance. It depends on what happens, it depends on how that would go. We're in uncharted territory. So Tesla's selling a car that says it can drive by itself. Not yet, but when it gets to that point, I think the insurance is going to be on Tesla, actually. So do you think that they're going to have a car that they're going to approve for that would be running over people? It's highly unlikely.
it said press accelerator to resume cruise control, and I did, and then it resumed. All right, now, so we're going to test someone walking in front of the car. All right, ready? Go. As you can see, Alvy was detected. The car stopped just fine.
All right, so far so good. But what about with real live kids?
Yeah. So I'm Tad. I'm a portfolio manager for VCAR, the autonomous driving ETF, and I trust the system enough that I've tried FSD beta before, that I would trust my my kids' lives with them. So I'm very confident that it's going to detect my kids, and then.
So this is a camera-based system. No, to my knowledge, they got rid of all radar. So it's all cameras, and a lot of people were shocked by that because nobody else knows other than Tesla how to do this with all cameras. And I would say one of the concerns is weather. So right now what it will say is if the camera isn't clear and it's raining or snowing, then it will say we can't do full self-driving. So if you're wondering how does it do it in the rain, at this point it does not. If the camera is not clear, then it will not allow you to do full self-automatic driving.
I'm also in control of the wheel, so I can brake at any time.
There you go.
Okay. It sees you. It sees you.
So what's happening? The car refuses to move.
Okay, it's moving a little bit. It's moving a little bit.
And it stopped. All right, now get out of the way. Did I press the accelerator? Okay, there you go. Perfect. Now press the brake and turn around.
Wow. Hey, can you cross the street all the way?
There you go.
Okay, now it's blue. It's blue.
All right, so the car slows down.
Yeah. It can see him. It can see him for sure.
It waits for him to cross.
Yeah.
And then it continues. So it sees kids just fine.
Yeah. And he's really short.
Yeah.
He's only 5 years old, so. It was a little nerve-wracking in the beginning, but yeah, I knew that it was going to detect and stop. And I think it's very important for this to be out there. I think it'll save a lot of kids' lives, so it's actually very important that safety technology like this is available. There's no reason for this to be banned or whatever, and I think people are just doing that just for their own financial gain, but it's not actually
their
for
own
the safety.
financial interest.
Yeah, it's not for the safety of others, and yeah.
All right, now we're gonna try and run this baby over at a higher speed.
You see that? It actually is seeing the fake kid from all the way over there. That's how good this vision system is, okay? Now, let's set it to 40 miles an hour, just like Dan O'Dowd's test. And let's go hit this kid. All right, so it's reading as a kid. What does it do? It slows, and it goes around. Huh. Weird. Not like the commercials you see on TV, huh? It's almost like the guy was lying because he was the CEO of a competing software company. Well, now you guys know the truth.
So why did the car from Dan O'Dowd's commercial perform differently than our tests? Well, it actually didn't. If you look at this behind the scenes raw footage from the commercial that Dan O'Dowd released,
you can see that the car actually did the exact same thing, but the test was set up to make it hit the dummy. If you look really closely at the video, you can see that the dummy was actually detected as a pedestrian and rendered in the visualization, as you can see by the black mark. So why didn't the car stop if it detected the dummy? Well, it actually did try to. They just didn't show you that in the commercial. You can see it slowing from 36 to 35, from 35 down to 19, all the way down to 16 before it actually hits the dummy. Now, while that's not as good as stopping fully, slowing down does greatly reduce the...
So you can see what they did. Allegedly, this person who wanted to make Tesla look bad, you're going to hear in a second, accelerated the car before putting it into auto full self-driving, set it up with cones on the side so the car wouldn't swerve, and so got it to a speed that was too fast for it to stop, and it would hit the car, hit the mannequin.
The severity of any crash, and it did respond. So clearly, Dan's claim that the software can't see kids is an outright lie. Even in footage from Dan's own commercial, you can see the software recognize the dummy as a kid and take appropriate steps to respond as soon as it recognized it. In addition, you can see that the software threw up the red hands of doom. This is a way for the software to ask the user to take over control of the car immediately. If there's a system error or autopilot detects a dangerous situation, it'll throw up this warning and ask the user to take control of the car immediately to avoid a potential collision. Now, the driver in this case failed to do that. That's not a realistic representation of the real world. In the real world, when you get this warning, which comes with a bunch of loud beeps, you're going to take control of the car and make sure it doesn't hit a kid that's standing right in front of your car. The driver in this case didn't do that. They ignored the warnings. So why didn't the car try and go around the dummy like it did in our tests? Well, if you take a close look at this behind the scenes footage again, you can see that the car actually did try and go around the dummy. The only reason it wasn't able to successfully go around it is that Dan set up cones all alongside the car so that it would be unable to change lanes. The software is programmed to really look at cones and not drive through them, because you don't want a situation where your car drives off the road or drives into a construction pit, right? So it was a setup. In a normal situation, it would have gone around the dummy, and I'm sure that's what it was doing originally, which is why they had to set up the cones to force it to drive straight into the dummy.
Peep game.
Then there's the warning message on screen. This kind of message pops up when you're holding down the accelerator, and holding down the accelerator will override FSD's decision to stop. There's been a lot of speculation that the accelerator was held down accidentally or on purpose to make this test go the way they want.
So we don't even know for sure. It's possible that they set it up with they put their foot on the accelerator. It's very possible. So I think if this is a live video that Dan disagrees with, then I think he's got to put his money where his mouth is and meet up with Omar, meet up with somebody impartial and show everything. Take away the cones, or you need to. This is a serious thing. And I'm going to show you I'm going to give you the takeaway after this is almost done here.
You can also see that the driver manually sped up before turning on FSD so it wouldn't have time to stop. The truth is that Dan's company, Greenhill Software, is a competitor to Tesla, and that's why they're spending millions of dollars to smear FSD, not because of safety. This advanced pedestrian detection runs all the time in your car, even when you're driving manually, and it can help warn you or prevent a collision. Dan is okay with people dying, even kids dying, if it helps him make a few bucks, and that, I think, is truly sick. Go fuck yourself, Dan O'Dowd, and stop trying to kill kids. Call Congress and tell them Dan's a clown.
Nice video there. My takeaway is that's why Elon Musk was originally, I don't think he wants to anymore. That's why he originally wanted to buy Twitter. Because people go on, they do these smear pieces. He does not have a public relations team. People who are passionate about Tesla, like Omar, though that is his public relations. So if you don't own Twitter, Omar could get blocked and banned easily, shadow banned easily. If you don't know the algorithm, he might be now, who knows? And that's why he wanted to step up and buy Twitter. And Elon's going to have to find another way. They obviously don't want him to succeed. I've got two more stories. It's Kim and then this funny little fight that happened. And on a positive note, I think it's kind of positive. But I've talked about Kim. This is probably going to wrap it up for hopefully the Pete, Kanye, Kim saga, which was a fascinating saga, which something that I think common people could take away from. You got the mental issues with Kanye, how to deal with relationships and somebody else with your kids type of stuff. But I talked about Pete Davidson. And Pete Davidson has an impressive list here of his history is just deep.
Davidson, he is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time. Give this man his credit. I don't want to talk about how funny he looks. That's not up for me to judge. I'm a funny looking dude myself. I'm not trying to judge anybody. Everybody's talking about how you look like a nerd or this or that. That's completely irrelevant. Put some respect on his name. He has had a treasure trove of women. Carly, Aquino. This is not an exhaustive list, by the way. This is just some of them. Cassie David, Ariana Grande. She is so dope. She is a great singer. I really like her albums and her songs. She is really, I don't know if she's ever made a bad song. She's that good. Kate Beckinsale. I forgot about that one. Wow. Kaya Gerber. I don't even know who these people are, but just take a look. Some of them. Phoebe Dynevor, Kim Kardashian most recently, and Clinton, allegedly. Give this man his props. He is the greatest Smash brother of all time. This guy is a sniper piper. He gets it in. Give him that credit. It was going to be tough to beat this dude. He went legendary. He basically gave Kim Kardashian Hillary Clinton sloppy seconds, allegedly. That's next level stuff right there. He needs to release like a self-help program to get bras in the sheets. That's what he needs to do if he wants to help the world.
That is actually a very pertinent topic. If you look at, there's a lot of incels, the population of incel type dudes are actually increasing. So maybe Pete Davidson could help, but nothing in life is free. Nothing is easy. Pete Davidson has
a few cute ones.
Pete Davidson has Kim's name branded on his chest. What?
There's a tattoo that says Kim. Yeah, he has a few tattoos, a few cute ones, that he got. But this one is it's not that one. The Kim one isn't a tattoo. It's actually a branding, like a branding. Because, let me explain it. Because he wanted to do something that was really different. Because, first tattoo he got, I was like, oh, so cool.
Ellen.
Thank you. Oh my God. So,
Ellen is low key. She is so funny. Ellen low key is so hilarious. I loved her sitcom back in the day. But look at her. Look at her face. She was like, what? She was like, what did you say? So it's like so Pete has her name. Like, can you undo a branding? So Pete, right now, they broke up. They're not together anymore. I mean, some people joke like maybe they were probably never really together. I don't know. But if he really has Kim branded on his chest right now, like this brand, like branded, like hot, like he got Kim. And what does it say? Like Kim K? Like, what does it say? And Ellen's like, what? She can't even look at that. She can't comprehend. She's like, wait a second.
he wanted to do something that was really different. Because,
Ellen's looking around like, do you understand what's happening?
Because, let me explain it. Because he wanted to do something that was
She reminds me so much of, I'm really dating myself here, Bob Newhart. Is there anybody old enough that's still hanging out right now that remembers Bob Newhart? Or was that his name? Yeah, it was Bob Newhart, wasn't it? Legendary the Bob Newhart show. It's dry humor. He was brilliant. Rest in peace. But yeah, same style as Bob Newhart right there.
because, let me explain it. Because he wanted to do something that was really
Kim sees the look on her face and she's like, whoa, let me explain it. No, Ellen's like, no, he needs to explain it. You don't got to explain anything. He needs to explain
let me explain it. Because he wanted to do something that was really different. Because first tattoo we got, I was like, oh, so cute. Thank you. Oh my God. So, second, whatever. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. But that's what tattoo people do, right? They get tattoos of what's going on in their life. And
wait, back
so
up,
I was like,
back up.
Special?
You said first tattoo. So he has 3 tattoos of you?
That is exactly like Bob Newhart. That is the exact style that Bob Newhart used to have. Do you remember that, Ryan? Anybody old enough? Yes, where he was like, "This, I'm Larry. This is my brother, with Daryl and my other brother Daryl, the Doofus, brothers." Oh, that show was so good. That's the same style right there. You see. So she's like, "Wait a second, back up. What did you say?"
Back
So I
up,
was like,
back
am
up,
I
back up.
special?
You said first tattoo. So he has 3 tattoos of you? Well, it sounds like this is like the third. So the first tattoo was,
little more
you
than
said,
that.
kind of cute. So
Yeah.
is it your name or is it like a little?
The branding is my name.
Right.
The other ones are cutesy things. I think my favorite one, it says, my girl is a lawyer. And that one's really cute.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So you want to know how Pete Davidson was able to get in the sheets of he has the greatest rap sheet that I'm aware of. He made the whole crowd go, "Oh."
Lawyer. And that one's really cute.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That one's really cute. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So my girl's a lawyer, and then what's the other one?
There's a few.
All right. All right. But when you say branding, so literally an iron thing went onto his body to brand Kim.
Yes.
Well, you are a brand when you think about it. Wow.
Because it's I don't know. I just think he was like, I want something that's there that I can't, get rid of my tattoos, because he's in the process of getting rid of his arm tats and his neck tats. So he's like, I don't want to be able to get rid of it or to cover it up. And I just wanted it there as a scar on me.
So I want the whole story told, because I did that rant where I was like, he's the smash brother #1. He's the greatest of all time. But let's be honest, though. Bro was willing to get Kim Kardashian branded on his chest. Literally. Would you do that to bang Kim for a few months? That's the price. So it doesn't happen just magically. He paid a price for this. Pete Davidson got the tattoos. So Kim was like, there's so many tattoos. Do we really want to list them all? So Ellen was like, let's move on. This nickel, knowing he was just the rebound boy toy, got her name branded on his chest like some cow. Can't undo that. But also allegedly got her kids' names, initials at least, tattooed on his neck. Kim is fine. But damn, bruh, that's extra. At the end of the day, ass is ass. So I'm not much respect to you to do your game and your hustle, but I'm not doing a branding. I'm not getting my wife's name branded on my chest. She wouldn't want me to, because it's asinine. But damn, Pete was for real. Let me know if you think it was worth it, or for whoever you think would be the equivalent of Kim. I think she's not my #1 or anything like that, but she's pretty nice. Do you think it was worth it. Let me know what you think. Then I got one more story here. Metalopoly says, Kim's been around the block so many times it'd be like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. Stop, man. I'm gonna have to put you in timeout, bro. That's Metalopoly said it'd be like throwing a hot dog down the hallway. So he said, no, that's not. He's like, no, I'm good. Oh, man. Metalopoly is so funny. But whatever your version of that would be, whether it's male, female, whatever, would you get a branding on your chest just for a few months? Who knows how many, how long it was or whatever of getting that, getting that ass, basically. Pete is the greatest of all time, but he does some wild stuff to get it. Like, how do you impress Kim Kardashian? She got all the money in the world. She doesn't need you, obviously. How do you impress her? You got to do some wild stuff to impress her. That's the answer. It's not going to be some old simple stuff. Hopefully it was worth it, bro. This is the last story I'm going to be, and then I'll be out. I saw this caught on camera thing here, and I was like, oh, not another one of these kind of, fights. It looks like it was a road rage incident. Come on, y'all, boy. So I'll play it here and show it. The ending, I think, is happy. I think it's a happy ending, so it's not going to be any type of gore or anything like that. But here's what it looks like. They had some beef from a road rage type thing. I'd be careful out there. People are stressed out. Let's just say you got economic pressures, all that. But let's look at this. Come on, y'all, boys. Wait, this not okay. Here we go.
Scuffle in Wynwood caught on camera, but in the end, both parties walked away and even shook hands.
NBC6 reporter Laura Rodriguez spoke to the man who took the video and witnessed the bizarre confrontation.
This is such a Miami story. A guy wearing shorts and slides faces off against a truck driver, but I have to give it to both of them. This fight was strictly old school.
Oh! A roadside scuffle caught on camera.
Yo, stop!
Several people got out of their cars near Northwest 29th Street and 2nd Ave to see who packed a stronger punch. Witnesses say it began as a case of road rage.
Car jumped in front of the truck. They start arguing, and one thing led to another. That's when the video started,
DJ Yo-Yo says he initially jumped out of the car to try and stop the fight.
Yo, stop it! Police!
But once I see them start swinging, I'm like, I'm not catching no blows for nobody.
The street scuffle lasted just over a minute and ended with a handshake. A positive resolution to what could have been more violent.
Fight it out and let it go. That's what they did last night. That was a perfect example of how we used to handle it back in the days. The old school ways.
Thousands of people have liked and commented on the video via only.
So that's what happened. I actually have the original video, but this is fine. They were, squaring off, doing that kind of stuff. Old school, no weapons or anything like that.
Indeed. Some critiquing their boxing skill level, but most just glad to see it was a good old fist fight without weapons.
I think the youngest, y'all need to look at this video and take from it. Instead of you getting yourself caught up and locked up over something dumb that you could just squabble it out and fight real quick and get it over with. Who cares if you lose? That's a win. You went in combat. You feel me?
It's always great to see a peaceful resolution, and I have to say, reading through the comments on Only in Dade always makes me crack up. One of the people commenting compared these two guys to Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul. Reporting in Wynwood, I'm Laura Rodriguez, NBC6 News.
They were fooling, but it was good though, because there were really no clean punches landed or anything like that. So they kind of squared off here, as you see in the video. This is the full video, so I will show this. And you can see that they separate here, and then the guy has the video.
Yo, 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 yo.
Let him do it, man.
Yo, you gotta go to work, man. Go to work, bro. Go to work, man. Go to work, man. No, go to work. I'm talking about real work. I ain't catching no blows for nobody. Come on, y'all boys. Woo! Don't jump in. My dog handling himself. Okay. You should have just drive off, boy. You about to get knocked out, boy. All right, just go to work, bro. Yeah, y'all shake it out. Y'all shake it out. Y'all shake it out. Y'all did that. Y'all did that. Y'all did that. Y'all did that. Y'all did that.
He's still following. Why are you still following?
Oh.
Why are you still following me, bro? But no, I actually think that was old school. That was good. I don't have no beat. I can't fight, so I'd be out here. That guy was a lefty, so that was a little tricky for the tall guy. Fighting the lefty. The guy in blue had a lefty stance, which is a lot different. Yeah, that strong blow comes from the left, from the strong side. But you could tell that it was almost like when you're doing that old school, it's like they kind of tired. It's like this. It's a lot of energy. Like if you're not ready, I'm completely out of shape right now, man. I'd be huffing and puffing just from that. You could tell he was kind of tired. Like, look, you see, the tall dude was like, I'm getting a little tired, a little out of breath. It's a little lot right now. This could go a few rounds. Like, there's no water, there's no corner to go back to. So he's like, let's shake it, bro. I'm good. I thought that was a kind of a good little thing. See, I don't know what dude in blue was still hawking him down though. He tried to shake hands and be like, we good, but I guess their cars were together, whatever. But I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, that kid had like a lot of reach, but that reach can be, once you get inside, it's over. And he was a lefty, so you could see he was a little awkwardly trying to handle it. You could tell. See, he got the lefty stance, so the guy, he didn't know how to really even. He's a classic righty. He was a little thrown off by that, but nobody really wanted to fight. So thanks a lot for hanging out, man. I got I didn't even do the Kamala one. I didn't even do the Kamala take. That's on the thumbnail. Kamala, I just have it's just a little. It's an article just to go through the KHive. So I lied. This will be the last one. KHive was a big deal when Kamala was running in the primary and the general election of 2020. KHive is just another term for internet geeks online that are brainwashed for a certain ideology or person. It can happen with MAGA, it can happen to anybody. This kind of hive mentality. And Kamala Harris has been kind of on the ropes. You're seeing more and more articles come out about her, and they're not flattering. They're people telling stories behind the scenes. They're really trying to transition, in my opinion, or people are trying to forcefully transition her out. Joe Biden obviously is not going to run for president again. I mean, my goodness. Like, stop. He can't even put on a jacket by himself. He forgot that he shook somebody's hand 5 seconds before. That's sad. To me, it looks like Alzheimer's, but I'm not a doctor. So Kamala would be the obvious choice, but people are like, Kamala's weak right now. Let's move in on her, get her out of there. To most people paying attention, Kamala Harris appears to have hit the skids. Her approval numbers are lower than President Joe Biden's, believe it or not. Can you believe that? Her approval numbers are lower than Joe Biden's are. How can that happen? She hasn't even done anything. Not only are they lower than Joe Biden's, they're lower than every one of her predecessors. That's a strong statement. This article is from July 26, where they said her approval is lower than all of her predecessors. There's other articles on her as well. Journalists are going after her. This article was from August 1st. Like, they're coming out like every other day now, basically, at least once a week. So they're obviously trying to move her up out of there. And she's not going to be able to fight that off, in my opinion. Her approvals are too low. I thought they were going to choose her for Supreme, Court, but I don't know what happened there. But I don't know what her off ramp is. She probably said, I have other off ramps. They're going to give her some type of parachute to safe landing, because there's no NPC zombie that's more zombie-like than black women, and black women, I think, still rock with her. So you would have to maybe replace her with a Michelle Obama or somebody like that. But, I listened to Richard Barris, and he said be careful, because he thinks Michelle Obama under scrutiny would be more like Kamala Harris than you think. I don't know. From what I see, Michelle Obama is better than Kamala Harris, but I believe it's Richard Barris, right? Richard Barris, the pollster, is very knowledgeable. So I think what he says, it has to have some merit. But they're throwing her under the bus. They say that she would have single-digit support. So one of the most rabid fan bases that were just like the Bernie Bros, that would go to war with the Bernie Bros on Twitter. All this stuff happens on Twitter, originates from Twitter, goes on Twitter, is the KHive. So KHive's not going to be happy with me right now, because your girl's in trouble, and she is. So don't take it out on me. I never really was on board. So it's up to y'all to make the decision. Do you need to stay on board or eject? Years after the end of the knockdown, drag-out Democratic primaries, where KHive didn't do well, Kamala Harris didn't do well. She was single digit. She dropped out. I believe she dropped out before she even got to her home state in the Democratic primaries, because it would have been embarrassing to lose it. The loose collective of digital warriors are still fighting on her behalf, and yet, according to some of the KHive's leaders, the vibe has shifted since the heyday of the 2020 campaign, when Harris fervently, sometimes recklessly, devoted fans earned compliments from the campaign and a request for support from Biden himself. When you look at the KHive, they were insane. They're not nearly as insane anymore. There is this story here of someone who wanted to leave the KHive. Laverta Jeffrey's son used to be on Twitter. So who's on KHive? Some of them are these 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, who knows how old, that they don't know anything about life. They're just following people. I was the same way 3 years ago, much less when I was 19. They love discussing her. They love standing her and fighting for her. When that person said, nah, Harris is no longer the candidate for me, and tried to leave the gang of KHive, they threw out some derogatory terms. This is the loving left. This is the left that talks about the LGBTQ community. They threw out some of the worst terms possible for someone who didn't even identify. So this person's mom got involved to defend her son, which I don't think that's a good idea, but whatever. On Twitter is how, it's not like physical abuse. She thought she was up against a few online trolls, but KHive was much bigger than that at that point. There were a lot of bots involved as well. Self-identified members of the KHive started replying to the mom, retweeting the tweets from her son. And then on top of that, the mom was a victim of heinous assault and domestic abuse, and they used that against her. These people don't have any principle other than power. That's why I went off on that tangent to tell you about KHive. So when KHive is ejecting and taking the parachute out, it's because they don't think Kamala Harris will give them the power that they need. The job of, this is one of the people from KHive here, and they said, hey, the job of vice president has always been to take on issues that may not be politically sexy or win easy wins for the administration. She knew that when she decided to accept the president's offer to join the ticket. However, I think even the vice president herself has admitted for the first year or so of her tenure, she's wanted to spend more time getting out into the country and being face to face with the American people. No, she doesn't. She would get booed. She stumbles and bumbles over her words. She's terrible. But this person says, I'm constantly seeing people ask, where's Kamala? They know there's a problem. They think the problem that she's not in front of people enough. They're hiding her. They're keeping her from the people because she can't face the people. This KHive person wanted to remain anonymous so they didn't get treated like that other person and their mom. I would never, ever say that I regret supporting the first black woman vice president, ever. But the disappointment is real, said one self-described former member of the KHive, who requested to speak anonymously as to not alienate themselves from friends made through the movement. If you can't leave the movement and still be friends with people in the movement, then it's not a movement. It's some type of, I don't even want to call it a cult. It's some type of like pressure, social pressure gang. Like you can't leave the streets, basically, is what you're seeing here. Those aren't your friends. I was obsessed with the idea of this person who could undo the systemic racism and sexism and heterosexism. That's a term I'm not familiar with. Heterosexism. Wow. They just use critical theory or neo-Marxism on cultural Marxism on everything. Remove that all in government with one fell swoop, and now I'm thinking to myself, did I just make up a person in my head who could do those things? They're realizing that they just made up a person that's not real. She can't do those things. No, she's not good at those things. You messed up. And they're finding it out and they're jumping ship. They know. We all know. But my takeaway is when you have a person or an animal cornered, and that's kind of how they feel, you can tell. When you've got someone cornered, they could be at their dangerous, and that's where you're seeing all this vitriol. Even if it's not KHive, they'll jump on the Newsom hive, the Obama hive. And we know that that's a hate MAGA hive. So the hive's not going anywhere, but it's telling that they're literally, the Titanic's about to hit the glacier and they are jumping ship. Thanks a lot for hanging out, checking it out. It's way past my bedtime, but it was worth it. It was fun. I'll holla at you tomorrow. Number one thing on my mind, we'll see if I do a video or not, is Tamara Lich. I wanted to take time to kind of think about what I wanted to say about Tamara Lich. Tamara Lich is the person who was behind the finances of the Freedom Convoy in Canada. She recently got this award, and it's not really about the award. It's about, I think she's a real life heroine, a superhero, basically human, but what she did will go down as one of the big moments over the pandemic. So I wanted to think that out, see how I want to present that. But check it out. Throw out the clips channel, because I'm just doing on this channel now. It's turned into, especially it's demonetized, so it really doesn't matter like how I format it too much. Just been doing long lives here. And then on the other channel, which I'll put the link in the description here, is where I'll do the clips. And I'll do clips on Twitter, do clips on Discord as well. But, yeah. Take care. Appreciate you. Peace.
The Green New Deal and the socialists who created it. We're fed up with the attacks on our fossil fuel and energy industries. We're fed up with an open border. We're fed up with human trafficking. We're fed up with fentanyl flooding our country, and we're fed up with illegal immigration. We're fed up with critical race theory. We're fed up with boys competing in girls' sports. We're fed up with... We're fed up with the liberal media, Twitter, Facebook, Google, and YouTube for blocking conservative speech. We're fed up with our government and universities censoring conservative thought, canceling debate, and rewriting history. We're fed up with the corruption in the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the CIA, the NSA, and the poison court. We're fed up with mask mandates, vaccine mandates, the CDC, the NIH, the WHO, and the misinformation campaign surrounding COVID-19. And we're fed up with Anthony Fauci. We're fed up with the politicians and the elitists in D.C. who are getting rich while the middle class falls further behind every year. We're fed up with Joe Biden, with Nancy Pelosi. We're fed up with the January 6th Commission and those people who think that they can gaslight us. And we're fed up with Liz Cheney. Everyone on notice. As of November 8th, we're taking our country back.